I'm Tom Ackerman, and these are the stories making news.
We're putting together the clues about Six Flags.
My guess would be that some sort of sale is in the making.
I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
I'm Debbie Monterrey. New crime statistics released overnight show the city of St. Louis has gotten safer over the past 12 months. Details after CBS News.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Clouds and some sun today, breezy and very mild, the high 62.
You know who started training? Nice weather for it. St. Louis City SC. We'll hear from them on the way.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour. Your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Some Iranians are communicating with the outside world for the first time since the government shut down internet service more than 4 days ago. Video sent via Starlink shows Iranian security opening fire on protesters. Reuters says one official puts the death toll at around 2,000. CBS's Bradley Blackburn.
The callers were able to reach the AP, but when journalists tried to call them back in Iran, the lines didn't work. So this communications crackdown is clearly still in place. Armed Iranian security forces have a heavy presence on the streets, too. And the White House is watching what happens closely.
White House spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt.
One thing President Trump is very good at is always keeping all of his options on the table. And airstrikes would be one of the many, many options that are on the table for the commander-in-chief. Diplomacy is always the first option for the president.
U.S. officials tell CBS News he has been briefed on options including cyber operations and psychological campaigns. Legal experts are raising concerns about the Trump administration's first strike on an alleged drug smuggling boat in September. Correspondent Michael Wallace.
Multiple reports say the Pentagon used a military plane painted as a civilian aircraft to attack the boat. 11 people were killed. The munitions were fired from a launch tube carried inside the plane. They were not mounted visibly under the wings. Legal experts say feigning civilian status to carry out an attack is a war crime known as perfidy.
House Democrats want to know just who is on the ICE payroll. CBS's Scott McFarland.
The ranking member of the House Judiciary Committee has formally requested information from the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Justice as to whether any pardoned January 6 rioters are now working behind those masks for Immigration and Customs Enforcement. They've requested those records be handed over by January 26th. No immediate response from those agencies.
Democratic Senator Mark Kelly is suing Pete Hegseth over his bid to downgrade the former Navy pilot's military retirement, rank, and pay.
I just never expected that I would have to protect the rule of law against a Secretary of Defense.
Hegseth has targeted Kelly for joining other lawmakers in a video last November, urging military members to refuse illegal orders. The Supreme Court hears arguments today on trans athletes. Correspondent Jan Crawford from Washington.
It involves two cases, one from Idaho, one from West Virginia, where the states passed bans on transgender participation in girls' sports and says that the states have to limit participation to an athlete's biological sex.
Dow futures down 67. This is CBS News. Take control of your financial life. Follow and listen to Money Watch with Jill Schlesinger on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
It is 6:03 and we've got mostly cloudy skies, 43 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. The number of murders in the city of St. Louis fell to 140 last year. And overall crime dropped 16% in 2025. That's according to numbers released by the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department overnight. A news conference is scheduled for later today to go over the statistics.
Mayor Kara Spencer released a statement praising Chief Robert Tracy and the work of his officers. She said the combination is a big reason why the public's trust in the city's police department continues to grow, enabling investigators to solve crimes with better information. The 2025 homicide total is the lowest in a dozen years.
Some modular buildings went up in flames overnight in Metro East. Cahokia Heights Deputy Chief Jordan Simmons told our news partners at Fox 2 it wasn't an easy fire to knock down.
They had pretty intense fire conditions when they arrived. They had to reposition the apparatus at one point due to the heat and the wind shifting, causing the flames to impinge close to an apparatus.
The cause is under investigation. No injuries reported.
A jury trial is underway in St. Louis County for a June 2020 shooting spree at an Applebee's in St. John. 34-year-old Courtney Washington of St. Anne is charged with first-degree murder, 2 counts of assault, and 3 counts of armed criminal action. That shooting claimed the life of Kimberly Penton and left 2 other victims wounded. Police at the time were unable to establish a motive.
Yesterday, KMOX reported on the second grand jury that St. Louis County has impaneled since September. The purpose is to advance trials quicker. But this morning, our Maria Kina provides insight that isn't usually known about grand jurors.
21st Circuit Presiding Judge Bruce Hilton.
There's always this mystique that it's a little bit mysterious about grand jurors. And they don't just come in and serve once, though. Will they change yearly?
So, yes, it's from the same jury pool as a petite juror is picked from. So it's based upon your residency and your driver's license. That's how you get summoned to serve as a grand juror. The judge, by statute, the presiding judge is who convenes the grand jury. The selection is made by now 2 circuit judges. So they go through the questionnaire process. They basically do a voir dire where they personally interview the potential grand jurors. And then ultimately it's discretion to the judge as to who is picked.
Judge Hilton says this is a 9-week commitment and they are not compensated well, which he says is a legislative decision, not judicial. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
A rally for trans rights took place over the steps of City Hall. Speakers from Black Pride St. Louis and other advocacy groups spoke against laws targeting transgender youth. Adam Richardson with Promo urged supporters to focus on the morality of the fight.
Just because they pass laws doesn't mean they are right. We will always fight for trans rights, and we will not stop until we have liberation.
The rally was held to coincide with oral arguments beginning yesterday in 2 Supreme Court cases over equal protection for trans people.
Well, you might have heard the rumors of big changes coming to Six Flags St. Louis, but are they true? KMOX's Michael Calhoun checking the clues.
For theme park history buffs, the potential sale of Six Flags St. Louis could mark the end of an era.
You know, it's a sad sort of ending for one of the original 3 Six Flags parks.
A series of trademark filings reported over the weekend includes Enchanted Parks St. Louis, filing by a Florida firm that for now doesn't own much more than a single water park, but says it wants to get into buying big theme parks. Martin Lewison, known as Professor Roller Coaster, says St. Louisans should look at the bright side.
The truth is, this is better news than hearing that someone is going to tear down the park. Six Flags is going to remove all the rides and they're going to build condominiums or something like that.
But KMOX found a theme in the filings. For the most part, they match up only with the water park sides of the Six Flags parks involved. For instance, in the Kansas City market, Oceans of Fun is listed, but not Worlds of Fun. In New York State, Great Escape Lodge, the indoor water park resort, is listed, but there is no filing for the main Great Escape theme park. Could this mean that Six Flags is focusing on its core business of roller coasters and selling off just the Hurricane Harbor water park portions?
Anything is possible. And like yourself, I mean, I and everyone else have been scratching our heads about, you know, why the water park and not that, or why the hotel and not that. So those are very good questions.
And for now, we have more questions than answers. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
From the business desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com, known for serving some of the best birria tacos in St. Louis, Tacos La Jefa has announced they're closing down by the end of the month. Tacos La Jefa became the star of the Urban Eats food incubator in Dutchtown, growing from a pop-up backyard operation during COVID to a staple and anchor restaurant in the Urban Eats food hall.
No reason was given for the closure, but the owners say they will still be available for catering, pop-ups, and festivals. According to the Business Journal, the eatery in 2024 launched a GoFundMe to raise money, saying they had placed their trust in someone to manage their operations who reportedly left them with unpaid bills and tax issues.
We've got traffic and weather coming your way next. It's 6:08.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now, but I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code RAIN to get up to a $5 per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code RAIN to get up to a $5 per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code RAIN. $5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FRESH to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
All right, let's check the roads at 610. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, highway-wise, we're doing great, Tom, so far this morning. Just one issue, and it looks like the 2 lanes are getting through now. Earlier, it looked like it was just 1 lane, and there's almost no delays now, just a little slowdown. And we're talking about westbound 370 approaching Earth City. We had a jam between the mills in there 10, 15 minutes ago, so now it's just a little slowdown. So it looks like they're getting that overnight road work picked up. But like I said, the right lane still looks closed to me, but there's 2 lanes open and westbound this time of day. I'm sure that's good enough. That's why the jam is dissipating pretty quickly. Earlier, it looked like it was down to just 1 lane. Other than that, even in the other construction zones, things continue to roll along. 70 east of Warrenton into Wright City, 55 at Festus and north of Bayless. Everything, you're good to go in these other around-the-clock work areas. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Clouds and some sun at times today. Breezy and very mild this afternoon, high 62. Tonight will be cloudy. Look for a bit of rain toward midnight, the low 35 to 39. Tomorrow, clouds, rain or snow shower in the morning, then some sun in the afternoon, but breezy and much colder. Temperatures holding in the 30s. Thursday, sunshine mixing with clouds and remaining cold, high only 34. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, we've got mostly cloudy skies, 43 degrees downtown.
Well, it certainly has people talking about St. Louis across the nation. So KMOX asked for an update on the monkey madness in the city.
According to a statement from a spokesperson for the city's health department, the monkeys and the goat remain at large. Part of the problem, according to the spokesperson, AI generated an unverified social media post creating confusion about where the monkeys are located and whether they remain at large. Mayor Kara Spencer says the origin of the monkeys remains a mystery.
We don't know the answer to that. These monkeys are a pretty unusual breed. And so, we're hoping we can track that down. Keeping primates in captivity is just not a good idea. It's illegal.
The health department spokesperson said they will be turning their focus on enforcing that law further, but will waive any punishment or fine for anyone who wishes to surrender a monkey they have secured. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Time is running out for SSM Health and United Healthcare to strike a deal.
Their temporary extension ends in just a few weeks, and if they don't agree, thousands of Missourians could lose access to their doctors. Senate President Pro Tem Cindy O'Laughlin tells MissouriNet patients should not be caught in the middle.
It isn't right to have the two entities not be able to come to an agreement and then people can't see their doctor. But, you have people who are seeing cancer doctors and you have high risk pregnancy and, that we need to not allow that to happen.
For now, more than 140,000 Missourians can still see SSM providers at in-network rates. But if SSM Health and United Healthcare don't reach a new agreement by month's end, those patients could lose that coverage. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
If you plan on attending tonight's St. Charles City Council work session, where an actual proposal on Mayor Dan Borgmeyer's tourism restructuring plan will be presented, it's being held at the Convention Center. A larger venue was needed to accommodate all the Main Street business owners and residents who do not support this plan. Tonight's meeting, speakers are not allowed, but they were last week.
This is why the message from Main Street is clear and unified. The city of St. Charles needs a strong, independent tourism department, and it needs a dedicated director of tourism at the CVB.
When marketing and event coordination are stable, I can plan for staffing and ordering and hours with confidence. When communication is unclear and accountability is fuzzy, small businesses absorb the cost immediately.
Mayor Dan Borgmeyer has not made any official decision. That could come tonight.
GameStop continues to shut down stores across the country, including a number of locations in the St. Louis area. GameStop locations in Creve Coeur, Jennings, and Alton closed last week, and locations in Maplewood and South County Center will be closing tomorrow. 12 area locations remain open. GameStop closed 590 stores in fiscal 2024.
Coming up at 6:22, we'll go back to the Missouri Athletic Club and hear some of the speeches from the Blues Hall of Fame ceremony. A wonderful night honoring Barrett Jackman, Al Arbor, Alexander Steen, and of course, Kelly Chase with the True Blue Award. We'll also look at the Blues playing tonight. They take on the Carolina Hurricanes. That one starts at 7 o'clock at Enterprise Center. The Blues have some work to do. They are currently, as a 6:30 faceoff takes place tonight at Enterprise Center, sitting on the outside looking in the Western Conference. The Blues have 42 points. They are now 6 points out of a playoff spot in the West, having lost 3 straight road games, and they had won back-to-back home games before they went on the road. Last night, the Houston Texans won their first ever road playoff game. They visited the Pittsburgh Steelers.
So it's a 34-yard line. Rodgers in the gun, 4th and 5. Has 3 receivers. He'll get the snap. It's a 4-man rush. He sits in the pocket. There's a line drive down the middle. Intercepted at the 50 and picked off on the play by Bullock. He's down the far side, 30. Far side, 20. Down the far sideline, 10, 5, touchdown. Rodgers has thrown a pick 6. Rodgers has thrown a pick 6 in what might be the final pass of his career.
Kevin Harlan could very well be right on Westwood One. Aaron Rodgers threw for 146 yards, intercepted for a touchdown, what could be the final throw of his 21-year career. The Houston Texans held Pittsburgh to 175 yards of offense and scored a pair of defensive touchdowns in the fourth quarter. They dominated Pittsburgh in the final quarter and won the game 30-6. Houston stretched its winning streak to 10 games and advances to play New England in the divisional round. Let's take a look at that playoff scenario. So on Saturday at 3:30, it'll be the Bills at Broncos. Good game there. And then at 7 o'clock, the 49ers at the Seahawks. Broncos and Seahawks, number 1 seeds in their respective conferences. They've been resting. Sunday, 2 o'clock, these Houston Texans visiting the New England Patriots. That'll be a defensive battle. The Patriots just shut down the Chargers 16-3. And then at 5:30 on Sunday, the Rams at the Bears. As the Bears just came back to beat the Packers, and the Rams had to do the same to beat Carolina. The AFC and NFC championship games have times now. Sunday, January 25th at 2 will be the AFC game, followed by the NFC game at 5:30. The Pelicans play tomorrow night. They take on Fordham at Chaffetz Arena, 7 o'clock start here on KMOX. SLU just on the outside of the top 25 released yesterday. They are number 26. Illinois moves up from 16 to 13. Brooks Koepka is back on the PGA Tour 5 weeks after leaving Live Golf. The tour has informed players that Koepka will be allowed to return with a stiff financial penalty. He's agreed to a $5 million charity donation. He also will have no access to the PGA Tour's equity program for 5 years and cannot get FedEx Cup bonus money in 2026. The BMW Championship's coming to Belle Reve this year, where Koepka won the PGA Championship in 2018. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals and Billikens, 104.1 FM KMOX.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Well, why do so many organizations pick the Missouri Athletic Club for their awards ceremonies, like the one you're about to hear with the Blues Hall of Fame at the MAC last night? Because they do a great job with catering, with the bartending, with the planning. They do it all for you. You don't have to be a member of the MAC to throw an event at the MAC. Just go to mac-stl.org and you can learn about all of their different spaces, not just the Missouri Room where we hold the Jack Buck Awards and all of the Hall of Fame ceremonies and Herman Trophy and everything like that. There are various rooms, both downtown and the MAC West, not to mention the MAC Clayton is going to open this spring. The Missouri Athletic Club is in the event business, and they do an incredible job. Visit them online, mac-stl.org, and you can learn more about catering and events, mac-stl.org.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
6:20, time for us here on Total Information AM to get you a check of traffic and weather. We start with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, W, we got trouble on westbound 64. It popped up pretty much as we were finishing our last report. A overturned vehicle crash. I think it's a pickup truck. Really doesn't matter. It's westbound 64. Just before the Clayton-Warson exit, left lanes are shut down. Traffic's jammed about midway back to McKnight right now on westbound 64. The good news is nobody, as of this time anyway, is slowing down on eastbound 64 past that westbound crash scene. Westbound 370 is back on the go between the Mills and Earth City from the earlier roadwork. Seeing a little slowdown southbound 61, approaching 64 in the Wentzville area. Not too much going on there. A little busy north 55. Just north of Bayless, also a little slowdown back down there near Highway A. Also seeing a slowdown westbound 64 briefly midway between 255 and 111. And also on the Illinois side, we have a crash on Landmarks Boulevard eastbound west of the Clark Bridge. So we have a little bit of a jam building there. That I believe that involves injuries as well. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Roger, we'll pay close attention to this forecast because it is going to change. Breezy and balmy today, a high of 62 degrees, clouds and some sun, says AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Tonight, cloudy, a bit of rain toward midnight, low in the mid-30s. And then tomorrow, breezy and cold, clouds and a rain or snow shower, giving way to some afternoon sun. That'll get our attention. Temperature steady or slowly falling, says Joe. Thursday, sun mixes with clouds, high only 34. Friday, a little warmer, high 44. Saturday, mostly cloudy, breezy, colder, a high of only 28 as the Cardinals' winter warm-up gets underway at Ballpark Village. Currently, we have a few clouds here in downtown St. Louis. It's 42 degrees. Let's go back to the Missouri Athletic Club, and this is the full presentation by the Blues. What a job they did. The True Blue Award for the Blues, Kelly Chase.
One of the most beloved players in Blues history, Kelly Chase came to St. Louis in 1988 and immediately captured fans with his ferocious style and heavyweight bouts. Chase poured his passion into the St. Louis community, and in 1998, his charitable efforts led to him earning the NHL's King Clancy Award. From his fire on the ice to his commitment to the community to his memorable calls during his 18-year radio broadcasting career, Chase has always shown what it means to be a Blue. The Blues are proud to present the 2026 True Blue Award to Kelly Chase.
Kelly Chase makes his way to the stage. He hugged TJ Oshie, Garth Brooks, In the crowd, a great friend of his, and on stage, Joey Vitale, Barrett Jackman. I see Al McInnes, Chris Pronger up there, and here's Chris Kerber, the master of ceremonies. Brett Hall gives him a little smooch as well.
Joe and I are going to leave the stage and take a break for the next 20 minutes. You guys just talk. Actually, Chaser, congratulations, bud. It is an amazing award, as Joe mentioned, because it doesn't represent just what somebody meant to an organization on the ice. It's also what you did off the ice. And despite a spectacular career that you had on the ice, coming undrafted, fighting everybody that you could, and Hartford eventually ending your way with the St. Louis Blues, it's your legacy, maybe even afterwards and during off the ice, that has made you such a lore in the city of St. Louis. So congratulations, bud. How are you?
I guess more humbled than anything, because, we get here, Twister and I, and of course he's told everybody in town we're going to beat the hell out of the town. So he kept saying we in the paper, and he said, came down to breakfast one morning. I said, you got a mouse in your pocket or something? Because Jesus, who is we? You keep saying we are going after this guy and we are getting that guy. No problem for him. He was beating the hell out of everybody. I was just trying to hang in there. But Susie Matthew taught us the way to handle ourselves in the community. And I was just talking to Garth. I just said, how hard is it to be nice to people? And I can be an asshole, and everyone knows that. So, but I just don't understand, the giving back part of it. Or you're asked to sign something, or you're asked to stop and talk to somebody. It's just such an easy thing to me, and I just never really thought about it. So I got to watch Poiger, and he was like a father. And I still, when I'm in the suite, I still when I hear it open, I turn around and I expect to see him, So, it's just, to me, just part of how I was raised. My mom, Joyce, is here. My sister and brother, Kyle and Candace, we were raised that way. We were just raised to do the right thing, and we don't always do it, but I think just having the right people around you and community parented, I think, is the most important thing that I've had in my life.
That is Kelly Chase, after receiving the True Blue Award at the St. Louis Blues Hall of Fame ceremony last night at the Missouri Athletic Club. Coming up at 6:45, Brett Hull delivers a tearful speech on behalf of his dear friend, Kelly Chase. It's 6:27. Time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Hey, McKelvey Homes is ready to offer you all kinds of great stuff, which includes a great website. All you have to do is go to McKelveyhomes.com, McKelveyhomes.com, and you're going to find the Reserve at Wildwood. If you want it, today's a nice day. Go for a little drive over to Wildwood. It's really easy to find the Reserve at Wildwood site because it's at the southwest corner of 109 and 100. That's the heart of Wildwood, 50 acres. And this community offering a stunning collection of homes designed with the high quality craftsmanship and style that McKelvey Homes is known for. The Reserve at Wildwood, more than just a place to live, it's a place to thrive. Thoughtfully planned. Families, outdoor lovers in mind, a community with miles of walking trails that wind through scenic green spaces that encourages an active and connected lifestyle. And it's close to the great Rockwood School District. It's close to the Wildwood Town Center. It's close to Badler State Park. It's an ideal place for families to grow and make lasting memories. The Reserve at Wildwood. McKelvey Homes, McKelveyhomes.com.
Attention business owners with a net income over $500,000. You need to work with a tax strategist that understands your entrepreneurial mindset. Download the most recent white paper written by E3 Consultants Group titled The the power of a professional tax strategy team. Go to e3wealth.com/radio to obtain a copy. It's time to learn about wealth and tax strategies that protect your personal and business economy. E3 is ready to help you think differently about your finances. Educate, empower, enlighten. That's the E3 difference.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before. We now have more offices, more staff, and more lawyers than any other injury firm in the world, protecting America, fighting for you.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
A new season, new faces, a new direction. The road to the 2026 St. Louis Cardinals season begins at the Cardinals Care Winter Warm-Up, January 17th and 18th. At Busch Stadium in Ballpark Village. The Cards are building for the future, and KMOX has exclusive coverage starting at 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday. Hear from players, alumni, and Cardinals leadership about what's ahead. Exclusive coverage of the Cardinals Care Winter Warm-Up on the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
It is 6:30, and right now we've got mostly cloudy skies. It is 43 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brand is in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We've got trouble on westbound 64 right now. We have an overturned vehicle crash westbound 64 just before the Clayton-Warson exit. The left lanes are shut down. 2 left lanes closed there. Westbound 64 jammed pretty much back to McKnight right now. Again, so far so good on the eastbound side of 64. There are no delays past that westbound crash scene. More volume on southbound 61 south of P. A couple of heavy pockets running all the way down to Highway 64 right now. Northbound 270 is a little slow north of the Sappington Road overpass. A couple of spots where it looks kind of crowded. Doherty Ferry toward Manchester. Northbound 55 from the Union Road overpass up to River to Pear. Just a general slowdown running through there. Still seeing a little bit of a delay. Westbound 64, we have an incident about midway between 255 and 111, a little bit of a backup there. And then in Alton, they're working with this crash eastbound on Landmarks Boulevard west of the Clark Bridge. Traffic's jammed back to 100 there, the intersection in downtown Alton. Next update at 6:40 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is going to be a really, really beautiful day today. Clouds and some sun, breezy with a high of 62 degrees. And then we could be looking at maybe snow tomorrow, believe it or not. Tomorrow is going to be breezy and cold, clouds with a rain or snow shower, giving way to some afternoon sun. But the temperatures will be dropping. And by Thursday, our high will be just 34 degrees. Again, right now it's 43.
The Missouri governor's State of the State address is scheduled for this afternoon, and the fight over tort reform is heating up again.
Debate. The Missouri Chamber of Commerce is calling for stricter limits on lawsuits to improve the state's legal reputation. Jared Hankinson says Missouri allows plaintiffs far too much time to file personal injury claims compared to other states.
Reducing our current statute of limitations for personal injury cases. Currently, that's at 5 years. We support reducing that down to 2 years, and we're incredibly proud to partner with Representative Ian Mackey from the St. Louis area.
The chamber argues the current 5-year window drives up insurance costs and contributes to what we previously reported, that St. Louis has been labeled a judicial hellhole. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Reverend Darrell Gray has left his position as chair of the St. Louis City Jail Oversight Board to serve as the facility's new chaplain. Gray says he believes this new paid position will allow him to make a better impact on the well-being of detainees.
I go to the second floor, I visit the units there, I go to the third, fourth, and fifth, and I make sure that I look in on every unit.
Gray believes the Jail Oversight Board is in good hands and will continue their work effectively without him.
I'm glad that I had an opportunity to serve. I appreciate that opportunity, but I still believe that ministry is a higher calling.
Nate Hayward, the city's commissioner of corrections, has praised Gray for his early work implementing new programs and working with other ministries to get a variety of religions access to the jail.
Another St. Louis Catholic school will close at the end of the school year. South City Catholic Academy is a regional grade school made up of a merger of other shuttered parish schools, St. Mary Magdalene, Our Lady of Sorrows, and St. Joan of Arc. The school currently has about 200 students.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. It's 6:33.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan, along with Dr. Colleen Bosler and Dr. Adam Voss of the Audiology Center. When was the last time you really enjoyed a conversation without straining to hear?
Charlie, so many people think hearing aids just make things louder.
But that's old technology. Today's hearing aids do so much more.
Exactly. With the dual chip technology, our hearing aids actually separate the speech from the background noise.
Which means at a noisy restaurant, you'll hear your friends and family, not the clinking dishes.
And the best part, your brain doesn't have to work overtime trying to fill in the blanks.
So that keeps your mind sharp, your conversations easy, and your relationships stronger.
Because hearing well isn't just about sound, it's about staying connected.
Thanks, Doctor. Call the Audiology Center today to schedule your annual hearing evaluation. Don't miss another moment. Call 636-441-7470 or visit theaudiologycenterstl.com.
It is 6:34, and it's time for your Money Report. It's sponsored for you by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Shares of Capital One, American Express, and other banks sank in trading yesterday after President Trump called on credit card companies to cap interest rates at 10% for a year. The president surprised the industry with a move he said could go into effect next week. This could wipe out billions of dollars in profits for one of the banking industry's biggest businesses. Credit card interest rates have been hovering above 20% in recent years. Turning to the markets this morning, stock futures are edging slightly lower. Investors are waiting on December's inflation data to chart the market's next move. The consumer price report will be out before the opening bell. S&P futures are down 12 points, Dow futures falling 70. And Google parent Alphabet is now a $4 trillion company. The firm has entered a multi-year deal with Apple to power the iPhone maker's artificial intelligence technology. Alphabet stock soared more than 65% last year. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here to tell you about 213 Complex, which is available at supplement superstores. Look, it's the time of year to make things happen with health goals. 213 Complex will do for you what it does for me. Gets the metabolism rocking and rolling 24 hours a day, helps you fight cravings, gives you all day focused energy with no crash that comes at the end of the day either. It's been a big help for me. It will help you. So get out to supplement superstores. Tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They'll knock 30% off your 213 Complex. To get started down your path and find your location, just go to supplementsuperstores.com.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
It's men's Billikens basketball action Wednesday night as they face Fordham. Pre-game 6:45, tip at 7 on your home for Billikens basketball. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's 6:38. How much would you pay to eat at a restaurant that's been crowned the best in the world 4 times over?
Noma in Copenhagen will offer its celebrated new Nordic cuisine to U.S. diners during a residency in L.A. from March 11th through June 26th. The price tag, $1,500 per person. Chef Renee Redzepi tells the Los Angeles Times the price reflects the cost of relocating 130 people to L.A. from Denmark and paying for their housing, transportation, and schooling for their kids. Reservations will be released Monday, January 26th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Noma will reserve 1 table each night for young professionals to experience the place for free. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
Wages are actually growing faster than inflation.
Here's why many people don't believe it. I'm Jeff Colvin of Fortune magazine with the Fortune Business Update. Economists, stock analysts, and politicians are all talking about the so-called K-shaped economy. Some people are getting more prosperous and some are getting less. That's one reason affordability is such a hot topic. But the fact is, over the past 5 years, prices overall have increased and wages have increased more. So some economists are saying, what's the problem? Spending power is increasing. But look closer. People don't compare now with 5 years ago. They compare with months ago. And the Indeed hiring lab finds that buying power has increased for some people, just over half of the population, but the rest aren't keeping up. And for those millions of people, affordability really is a problem. They're the downward part of the K-shaped economy. I'm Jeff Colvin.
Hey, let's check in with Roger Brand. It's 6:40. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom's kind of busy out there, unfortunately, right now. If you're headed out the door, the one big trouble spot we have, aside from just building volume, is the crash on westbound 64 just before the Clayton-Warson exit. An overturned vehicle crash. Left lanes are shut down. Westbound 64 is a solid jam back past McKnight Road now. And the good news is eastbound 64, still not bothered by it. There's no delays eastbound at all. Now, southbound 61 has a brief backup approaching Highway P. South of there, it's slowed down onto 64 Prospect, but then it sorts itself out. Like I said, it's fine past this westbound crash around Clayton-Warson. Northbound 270, a couple of slow spots from 55 up to Gravois, Doherty Ferry, up to about Clayton Road. After that, it's not so bad. Eastbound 30, west of Mauer up the hill to 270, seeing delays there. Northbound 55, north of Highway A, there's some slow traffic. It backs up the Union Road overpass through Bayless. Then it's slow up through Holly Hills, Virginia after that. Downtown, westbound 64 is still seeing heavy traffic from 255 about midway into 111, maybe a little closer to 111 before it sorts itself out. And they're still working this crash on eastbound landmarks at Henry Street in downtown Alton, and traffic's jammed back to 100 through the heart of the downtown area there past the casino. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Let's get a check of that forecast because today is going to feel like spring and then tomorrow winter returns. We get all the details from our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg.
And Debbie, a strong cold front will come through the area later tonight. Ahead of it, today will be mild. We'll see clouds and some sun. The breeze will be pretty notable. We'll get into the low 60s. Not a record for the day. I think that's 67. So I don't think we're going to get that high, but we'll make a run at it. And then as that front comes through, there's a risk for a shower at some point overnight tonight, particularly toward midnight, the low in the mid to upper 30s. It stays in the 30s tomorrow. A cold, breezy, cold and breezy day with clouds, maybe a rain or snow shower early. Some sun breaks through in the afternoon. Thursday, a cold one with sun mixing with clouds, our high only 34. Cold eases a bit on Friday with more clouds and sun. It'll be breezy, the high 44. And then it's even colder on Saturday with plenty of clouds. Our high reaches the upper 20s. Right now it's just 48 degrees at St. Peter's, 47 in Florissant, partly cloudy, 46 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
It's 6:42. A bipartisan push to slash credit card interest rates is getting fresh momentum after a post from President Trump. Senators Josh Hawley and Bernie Sanders are renewing their call to cap rates at 10% after Trump demanded that exact limit over the weekend. Hawley previously said he thinks it could pass the Senate easily.
I mean, listen, back in the 90s, the Senate actually voted, I think 74 senators voted to put a cap on credit card interest rates. Back then, I think it was 14%. So there's a lot of precedent for this. And I would just say this shouldn't be partisan. I mean, this ought to be about helping working people.
With average rates currently near 29%, Hawley calls the current system exploitative for working Americans.
Top Pentagon officials are set to brief members of the Senate and Armed Services Committee behind closed doors.
Members of the Senate panel will get an update on Operation Absolute Resolve, the joint military and law enforcement operation to extract Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores from Venezuela. Last week, Secretaries Pete Hegseth and Marco Rubio held classified briefings in the House and Senate. They defended the operation, and Rubio outlined a three-step plan to stabilize Venezuela. Maduro and his wife pleaded not guilty to narco-terrorism charges last week. Nicole Killian, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
China is aiming to capitalize on a visit by Canada's Prime Minister.
As the Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney visits China, China's state media is calling on the Canadian government to set a foreign policy path independent of the United States in what it calls strategic autonomy. The Chinese government bristled at former U.S. President Joe Biden's efforts to strengthen relations with Europe, Australia, India, Canada, and others to confront China. Now China sees an opportunity to loosen those ties. Carney, for his part, has focused on trade, describing the trip to China as part of a move to forge new partnerships around the world to end Canada's economic reliance on the American market. Canadians were angered by tariffs on their exports to the U.S. imposed by President Donald Trump, and after Trump suggested that Canada could become America's 51st state. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
A new survey has found that 9 out of 10 American adults fight the urge to sleep just for a little quiet me time. And CBS's Chris Mavridi says that's robbing us of a lot of sleep.
Around 332 hours of sleep per year, according to the research. On average, they say we extend bedtime by roughly an hour and 50 minutes every couple of nights, just so we could either doom scroll, watch TV, or play a few games. 2/3 of American adults admit nighttime is the only time they have for themselves.
Well, a lot of sports going on last night for those who stayed up, like the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Pittsburgh 43, Rodgers in the gun, 3rd down and 12. Pittsburgh 1 of 9 on 3rd down. Rodgers empty backfield. He'll get the shotgun snap, 4-man rush, sets in the pocket, hit from behind. Down he goes. Did he lose the ball? Rodgers is down. The ball picked up on the play by Rankins. He'll run it down the middle from the 20 to the 10 to the 5 and a touchdown. He was not chased. He was not chased. It's a defensive touchdown for the Houston Texans. Rodgers fumbled it under duress.
It's a fumble recovered by Houston and run back for a touchdown.
I'll have to see it. It took him a long time to get out of there with the football. A long time. Didn't know if somebody else had recovered it, got touched on the ground. It was hard to discern if they had said Rodgers was hit, but he was hit from the side by Anderson. Rankins got the loose ball, dug it out, and then ran with no one chasing him down the middle for 33 yards.
Kevin Harlan and Kurt Warner with the call on Westwood One, and the Texans took off from there. They led 10-6 early in the fourth quarter. They won the game 30-6 at Pittsburgh to advance to the divisional round and perhaps end the career of Aaron Rodgers. Saturday, 3:30 kickoff, Bills at Broncos, followed by 49ers at Seahawks. Sunday, 2 o'clock, Texans at Patriots, followed by Rams at Bears. Those are the teams remaining. The NFL divisional round begins this weekend. The Blues play tonight at home against the Carolina Hurricanes. 6:30 start for them at Enterprise Center. Last night, the Blues Hall of Fame ceremony, a very special night. Al Arbor, Barrett Jackman, Alexander Steen, the inductees, and the True Blue Award going to Kelly Chase. Here is one of his very best friends, Hall of Famer Brett Hall.
Twister and those guys, they came up, to stay when we knew that they were going to be an integral part of our team. It was kind of like instant karma with Kelly and I, and we became extremely close friends. And it kills me now, but you talked about Susie and how she taught us what the St. Louis Blues was all about. But all of a sudden, I from out of nowhere, I became this guy and this St. Louis Blue scoring all these goals. And it could have went a myriad of ways. But without him, he taught me how I was supposed to act, all the things we were supposed to do away from the game, the way we treated our fans and the people and the community and whatever it was, he was my guiding light that way. And so I've never told him that, but I think he knows. And, you asked Curtis about what you think, and when you think about Kelly Chase, and it's the love of the St. Louis Blues and the city of St. Louis. And that sums it up right there.
Emotional words from Brett Hull talking about Kelly Chase sharing the stage with him last night at the Blues Hall of Fame ceremony. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals and Billikens, 104.1 FM KMOX.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union. Federally insured by NCUA.
They're back and bringing all the hits. This is Rascal Flatts. Rascal Flatts, live at Enterprise Center, January 17th. Sing along to all of their best songs. One night, one stage. All the songs you love. Tickets still available at Ticketmaster.com. For more information, KMOX.com/events.
Total Information AM. Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM KMOX.
6:51 and time to check the roadways and the weather. Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, there's still no change, Debbie, with this overturned vehicle crash on westbound 64 just before the Clayton-Warson exit. 2 left lanes shut down. Westbound 64 is starting to slow back at about Bellevue, but it jams west of 170 out to the crash scene. If you're on southbound 61 Highway P, down on the 64 through Prospect, it's busy. It's a little slow between Clarkson and Timberlake. But again, going past that wreck at Clayton-Warson, it still looks fine, which is great to see, obviously. South 170, Ladue down to Brentwood Boulevard, that's getting a little heavy. Eastbound 70 starting to get a little bit of a backup between Bryan Road and the Highway K, a little congestion there. Northbound 270, a couple of slowdowns from 55 up to Gravois, Big Bend up toward Manchester, and then right around Ladue both ways. 270 around Ladue's kind of slow. Northbound 55 backs up at the Union Road overpass to Bayless, and then it's slow from there to Virginia. Westbound 64 still seeing delays, 255 through to 111, and then approaching Route 3 onto the Poplar Street Bridge. And in Alton, it looks like they cleared that crash on landmarks at Henry. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Forecast is good for today. A high of 62 degrees with some sun, breezy, balmy, says AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Then we take a turn, rain towards midnight, low in the upper 30s. Tomorrow, a possible snow shower giving way to some afternoon sun, slowly falling into the 30s again. And then Thursday's high, only 34 degrees. It's 42 right now.
The news continues at 6:53. A new report shows that 1 in 4 dementia patients on Medicare is prescribed medications that could be harmful. We get more from CBS's Michael George.
UCLA researchers found that many dementia patients are being given brain-altering antidepressants and antipsychotics linked to falls, confusion, and hospitalization. Researchers say doctors need to evaluate whether alternative treatments may be safer for certain dementia patients.
If you see a bunch of 20-somethings camped outside of a Lowe's all night, don't mind them. CBS's Chris Mavridis says they're just lining up to get a bucket.
$2 pink mini bucket is now the new thing everyone's trying to get their hands on. It's just a shrunken down version of those Lowe's construction buckets, but it's already given the Starbucks Barista Cup a run for its money as the most hyped container on social media. So what do you even do with a bucket that only has room for a cup and a half? What else? You drink coffee out of it.
Dog owners better bring their pooper scooper and use it because there's a new way of finding out who left the delinquent dog droppings behind. Correspondent Bradley Blackburn says some communities are turning to a company called Poo Prints that promises to help solve the mystery. He explains how it's been working for the Hudson Harbor condos in Edgewater, New Jersey.
Small samples of droppings are sent via vial for DNA testing and compared to a database of dogs. Every resident pup is required to be swabbed so their genetic information can be kept on file. If there's a match, properties can levy fines or punishments.
The disease and bacteria that humans can pick up from dog poop and other dogs can be very dangerous.
Poo Prints CEO Jay Redinger says it's a treatment for a public health issue. Dog feces can carry E. coli, salmonella, or parasites that spread on shoes or paws.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday.
The birthday shout out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Remember, if you have a birthday or anniversary you'd like announced, just send it at least a day in advance to totalam@KMOX.com. totalam@KMOX.com. Happy birthday wishes going out to Teresa Wannenberg from Brian, Nancy Phillips, and D. Sylvia from the Life Group. Also, happy birthday wishes going out to Jeffrey Boyd, Vincent Golomsky, Todd Blackstock, and Kevin Hall.
This is the best birthday ever.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay, things people love.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
The St. Louis Symphony Orchestra brings the sweet nostalgia and soul-shattering passion of Tchaikovsky's Fourth Symphony to life this January. This energetic program also features performer Wu Wei playing a stunning concerto on the sheng, a mouth organ and one of the oldest known Chinese instruments. Don't miss this unique program. January 24th and 25th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Drury, today and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120. Visit Lance, DRURY law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
We got a few things going on out there. Let's check in with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, the one big trouble spot, Tom, is still with us, unfortunately. But I'm looking at it. I think maybe they're getting close to clearing it, but not yet. The two left lanes are still shut down. Westbound 64 just before the Clayton Warson exit because of an overturned vehicle crash. Westbound 64 is slow from Bellevue to Hanley, and it jams just west of the Interbelt out to the crash scene. South 170, Ladue down to Brentwood Boulevard is pretty slow right now. South 270, Olive down to 64 is busy. North 270, a slowdown ramping on from 55. Then it's busy at 44, Big Bend up toward Doherty Ferry, and a little slower on Clayton Road. So a couple of spots. Eastbound 30, that's more of a solid backup. West Watson to 270. Northbound 55, Bayless up through the Holly Hills area. You've got heavy traffic. Southbound 61 approaching Highway P down onto 64, almost all the way to Lake St. Louis Boulevard is pretty busy. Eastbound 70, a little slow right through that Bryan Road area. Downtown, westbound 64 looks better past 255, but it is slow approaching Route 3 onto the Poplar. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is Tuesday, January 13th. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
Why is the rumored suitor for Six Flags St. Louis only registering trademarks for water parks like Oceans of Fun and not the theme park sides like Worlds of Fun?
Those are very good questions.
I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
I'm Sean Malone. The chair of the Jail Oversight Board is now working for the city. Coming up, I'll tell you why he says he can be more effective this way.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Today will be breezy and mild with clouds and some sun at times and a high of 62.
How is the offseason for Roman Berkey? We will hear from the St. Louis City SC goalkeeper coming up at 7:15, and we'll take a look at last night's Blues Hall of Fame ceremony. It was a good one at 7.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. We're learning some Iranians have been able to make international phone calls via Starlink and get video out documenting security forces firing at protesters. Also, cars on fire. The BBC's Shay Gold.
The message we are receiving is horrendous. Doctors, surgeons, nurses, ambulance driver, they say they have seen bodies piled up in the hospital. They have seen so many wounded, injured protesters, young men and women.
An Iranian official tells Reuters the death toll in the protests is around 2,000. President Trump meets with his national security team today to discuss a U.S. response, including cyber operations. The state of Minnesota and the Twin Cities are pushing back against Homeland Security for flooding the cities with immigration agents. They filed a lawsuit alleging it's wreaking havoc and violating constitutional rights. Correspondent Nicole Skanga from Minneapolis.
With clashes continuing between federal law enforcement and demonstrators, the lawsuit pointed to several alleged uses of excessive force.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you.
Including by the ICE agent who shot and killed Renee Good last week.
Jerome Powell's counterparts from around the world are the latest to speak out against a criminal investigation into the Federal Reserve chair. Republican Mike Lawler agrees.
I don't think, barring some really extensive evidence, that the Department of Justice should be going down this road.
White House spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt.
One thing for sure, the president's made it quite clear, is Jerome Powell is bad at his job. As for whether or not Jerome Powell is a criminal, that's an answer the Department of Justice is going to have to find out.
A former Navy sailor who sold secrets to China has been sentenced to more than 16 years in prison.
A federal jury convicted 25-year-old Lynch of espionage and other crimes in August. He was an engineer for the amphibious assault ship USS Essex when a Chinese intelligence officer recruited him via social media. U.S. Attorney Randy Grossman says Wei sent the officer photos and videos of the Essex.
And he sold scores of technical and mechanical manuals related to the operation and power structures of amphibious assault ships.
Wei was paid more than $12,000 for the information. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
The Texans were true road warriors last night.
Ball is out. It's picked up by the Texans and Sheldon Rankins, and he is in for a touchdown.
Houston cruised into Pittsburgh and came away with a 30-6 wild card win over the Steelers on ESPN. Texans play New England Sunday. This is CBS News.
Follow and listen to the official 48 Hours After Show post-mortem on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Guys, if you want the greatest night of your life, I mean your best night ever, then you gotta hear this. There's a new ED pill out, and it's from the makers of Viagra. It's their first new ED pill in over 20 years. This new super pill is called Viagra AGV, and it's unbelievable. It works super fast in only 11 minutes and lasts up to 14 hours, thanks to its new vasodynamic delivery system. Plus, it's FDA approved and safe. There has never been any ED pill like it. It's unreal what it does to you. In testing, Viagra AGV crushed every other ED pill. It destroyed them all. And now, 9 out of 10 urologists are recommending Viagra AGV over any other ED pill. Every man alive needs to try this new Viagra AGV super pill at least once. Then you'll know why men are going crazy over it. So if you want to have the most incredible night of your life, you can't miss this. Go to scoreblue.com and try it while supplies last. That's scoreblue.com.
It is 7:04, and right now we've got mostly cloudy skies, 42 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. In the news this morning, in numbers released overnight, St. Louis City Police say homicides hit a 12-year low in 2025, with overall crime dropping 16%. CompStat data shows overall crime dropped 28% from 2023.
The homicide total fell to 140, while robberies in the city declined 15% year over year. Shootings were down 28%. Police Chief Robert Tracy released a statement saying the numbers are more than statistics. They reflect the hard work and dedication of St. Louis City police officers. He says there's progress being made along with community partners to build a safer St. Louis.
Reverend Daryl Gray, chair of the Jail Oversight Board, has left his position to take a new one as the jail's chaplain.
Reverend Daryl Gray says he was hesitant to take the job at first.
I wasn't sure if I would have to decrease my public voice, but the commission has allowed me to be an advocate. And the chaplain, that's part of that role, to be an advocate.
Commissioner of Corrections Nate Hayward says Gray's previous work on the Oversight Board makes him a great fit for his vision.
Reverend Gray is a special type of chaplain. You know, he already invested into this jail.
Hayward has praised Gray for his early work, implementing a Christmas program that involved over 150 detainees and working to get more religious denominations access to the jail. Gray says he believes the Oversight Board is in good hands and will continue their work without him. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Multiple monkeys and at least one goat remain at large in St. Louis City, with the Department of Health saying AI images being circulated on social media of the monkeys are making it harder to actually verify their location. Mayor Kara Spencer says while it's easy to find the humor in all this monkey business, there is still a serious danger.
Monkeys could be carrying a disease or be a public health concern, and certainly they're unpredictable.
The health department says they will waive the punishment and fines that come with illegally owning a monkey if someone wishes to surrender one that they have.
As the governor prepares to outline his vision for Missouri later today, State Senator Nick Schroer is raising alarms about the state's economy. Schroer says Missouri cities are losing the competition for new residents and businesses to neighboring metros like Nashville and Indianapolis.
We're just ticking by as Tennessee, Kansas, Arkansas are growing tremendously. We're going in the opposite direction when you look at that U-Haul report.
Schroer hopes the governor's speech will focus heavily on business development and reversing the trend of people moving away.
From the business desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com, the crowds at Enterprise Center were big for the 2026 U.S. Figure Skating Nationals that wrapped up Sunday. The St. Louis Sports Commission reports total attendance over 11 sessions was 93,231. The event brought an estimated 5,000 visitors to town.
The men's U.S. champion for the fourth year in a row, Ilya Malinin, described the experience as, quote, his favorite championships ever because of the support he and his fellow skaters received in St. Louis. Several other top skaters commented about the crowds, hospitality, and support they felt in St. Louis.
It's going on 7:08, and we're going to check traffic and weather and some new rumors about the future of Six Flags in St. Louis. That's all on the way. It's 7:08.
Taking care of your health should be simple. And with the Neovitin monthly subscription, it finally is. Choose your doctor-formulated multivitamin and we'll deliver it straight to your door every month. No more running out, no more remembering to reorder, just consistent nutrition made easy. Plus, subscribers save 10% every month and can pause or cancel at any time. Visit neovitan.com and start your subscription today. Neovitan, trusted nutrition every day.
You know Gray Bar for electrical parts, but there's one more thing you may not be thinking of us for that can help maximize your next project's total value. Our pre-project planning services are designed to help you win the bid, save on labor costs, and keep your installers productive across your entire build. The sooner you call us, the better. Because when we're there from the beginning, we can anticipate your needs and help you solve problems before they become problems. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
Attention, have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-894-7722. That's 800-894-7722. Again, 800-894-7722.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Let's get another check on the roads. Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, we still have our trouble in Mid-County with, actually, there's a couple of crashes in that area now. The original one we've been talking about, westbound 64, just before Clayton Warson, 2 left lanes still shut down. That's the overturned vehicle crash. Westbound 64 slow, Big Bend through Hanley, but then it jams at 170 out to Clayton Warson. And there's an incident, I can't tell what it is. It looks like it's in the left lane, though. It's southbound 170 south of Brentwood, right near the U-Club Tower. So south 170 is bogged down between Delmar and Ladue, and it jams approaching the Parkway down to that incident. So it's a couple of tough trouble spots in that vicinity in the Richmond Heights, Ladue area. Northbound 270 slow stuff from 55 up through Gravois. It jams north of Gravois up to, again, looks like another incident we have just north of 44. After that, it's a little slow, Big Bend Doherty Ferry, and then approaching Ladue. South 270 south of Olive to Ladue is busy. Southbound 61 south of P down onto 64. At Lake St. Louis Boulevard, you got congestion. Northbound 55 Bayless up to River to Pear, heavy. Westbound 64 Baugh to the 70 split, then west of 3rd Street to the Poplar is crowded. Next update at 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, clouds and some sun today, breezy and very mild, the high 62. Tonight, cloudy with a bit of rain toward midnight, the low 35 to 39. Breezy and much colder tomorrow with cloud and a rain or snow shower, followed by some afternoon sun. Temperatures steady or slowly falling. It'll be cold Thursday, sunshine mixing with clouds, high just 34. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 7:11. This is Total Information AM on KMOX with Demi Monterrey. I'm Tom Ackerman. And in a KMOX follow-up, our Michael Calhoun is digging into the future of a longtime St. Louis attraction.
If Six Flags St. Louis is sold to an upstart amusement company, as is rumored, could the small firm actually afford to run it? Or could it mean more attention for the park outside of a big company?
Maybe Six Flags isn't the best owner, and maybe it makes sense for another owner to own those properties.
Martin Lewison, a professor of business management at Farmingdale State College, known nationally as Professor Roller Coaster, says yes. He argues the industry is growing and new investors might be able to maximize profits where Six Flags could not.
It's seen as a growth industry, and I can see certain investors saying, hey, if there's an opportunity, then, let's take advantage of it.
Lewison points to Hershen Family Entertainment, owners of Silver Dollar City, as an example of a company that started small and expanded into a major player. The other big park operator is United, which owns SeaWorld, and Busch Gardens was formerly Busch Entertainment Corporation. Lots of St. Louis connections there, although they tend to buy parks that have more than just a local market. In this case, an upstart company from Florida is registered for several Six Flags connected trademarks, including St. Louis. Lewison says,
St. Louis might be the gem of the It might be their new flagship park for their new chain, for all we know.
The only thing we know for sure is that Six Flags executives say they want to pay off debt by selling off the bottom 30% of parks. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The December 1st snowstorm that hit eastern Missouri was stronger than originally forecast, says Becky Almaroth, the Chief Safety and Operations Officer for MoDOT. She told the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission last week that it was also an expensive storm.
For that December 1st storm alone, we had almost 700,000 miles driven, over 56,000 labor hours, almost 25,000 tons of salt, and we spent almost $7.8 million. Winter storms are very costly.
Meanwhile, the Missouri State Highway Patrol says there were 358 crashes on December 1st, 214 stranded drivers, 41 injuries, and 1 death.
Illinois State Police say interstates continue to get safer. Andy Dane reports from Chicago.
0 fatal interstate shootings were recorded in Illinois last year, according to a new report from Illinois State Police. That same report finds a 31% drop in overall interstate shootings since 2024. The 4th straight year the number has declined. In fact, shootings were down a whopping 80% last year compared to 2021 data. A statement from ISP Director Brendan Kelly reads in part, when faced with a surge of violence on Illinois interstates, ISP took immediate action, dedicating personnel, technology, air operations, K-9 units, forensics, and investigative expertise, successfully decreasing the number of shootings. Our multifaceted approach has proven to be effective, but as crime evolves, so will we, in order to keep our communities safe.
Hey, it's 7:15. You know who we haven't heard from a while? St. Louis City SC. They're going to play their first game on February 21st, and they are training now. You know who else we haven't heard from? Best goalkeeper in the business, Roman Berkey.
Roman, how was your off season? It was good. Anything special? Horseback riding in the water. Cool. That was special. Back in Switzerland or somewhere else? Yeah. No, I think the water is frozen in Switzerland at the moment. And Turks and Caicos. All right. Yeah, that was nice.
Horseback riding in the water, okay.
With a new coach, you've been through this before, but how were things out there today? Good. Like you said, that's not the first time. And obviously today the energy was great. Everybody wants to show what he can, and that's good. But it will show later, during the season or during the preseason, who's actually going to keep going, and the ones who do, they're going to be rewarded.
How do you want to set the tone?
As always, I just try to be an example, give everything on the training field, show emotions. I think that's what the coach also wants. And he also talked about this morning. They're going to hold people accountable, and not only him, also the assistant coaches, which is what is very important for us, that we are setting the standard high and keeping it high.
Roman Berkey and St. Louis City SC, they have started training in downtown St. Louis, reflecting the attitude of Yoann DeMay, the new coach for City. There is Berkey right there. Last night, the Blues Hall of Fame ceremony at the Missouri Athletic Club. We played you some of Kelly Chase's comments, Brett Hull's emotional tribute to Kelly Chase. I like this one. This is Cam Jansen. I like this as well. This is him paying tribute to Barrett Jackman, who was a father figure of sorts to Jansen and others as Jackman went into the Hall of Fame last night.
First off, this is very intimidating, just so everybody knows. But if you want to challenge this table to a fight, then we're doing pretty good, besides Andy. Jax, you had a lot on your plate. When I first got traded here, you had a lot on your plate, man. We had a lot of young guys, Osh, Berge, Petro, all those guys. You did a damn good job. We needed you, man. We needed you. And we looked up to you. And if we were too high, you brought us down. If we were too low, you pumped us up. You battled with us in practice. You took care of us on and off the ice. We appreciate that, man. We really, really do. Look at Osh, Stanley Cup winner. EJ, Stanley Cup winner. Petro, Stanley Cup winner. David Perron, Stanley Cup winner. That's because of you, man. That's because of your mentorship. Now I look at myself, I'm still a disaster. So you're 5 out of 6. 5 5 out of 6.
You're
5 out of 6.
Progress. You're a work in progress. You're still going.
We love you, man. We needed you, and you deserve to be up there. We love you, Jax. Right on, buddy.
Thanks, Brandon.
Good stuff from Cam Jansen on Barrett Jackman. He goes into the Hall of Fame along with Alexander Steen and Al Arbor. Kelly Chase received the True Blue Award last night at the MAC. The Blues take on the Carolina Hurricanes tonight, 6:30 start at Enterprise Center. Last night, the Texans knocked out the Steelers 30-6, moving into the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. This is how it looks. We've got Saturday afternoon, 3:30, Bills at Broncos, followed by 49ers at Seahawks. Sunday, 2 o'clock, Texans at Patriots. And the late game Sunday, Rams at Bears. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals and Billikens, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-990-1551. That's 800-990-1551.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 7:20. We need to get you updated on traffic and weather. Roger Brand has the very latest from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, good news, Debbie, on westbound 64. They cleared that overturned vehicle crash we had out there for a while at Clayton Warson. Westbound 64 is slow from Bellevue to 170 and jams at the Interbelt most of the way out to Clayton Warson because they opened up the lanes a couple of minutes ago. Still have the incident. At last check, it was blocking the left lane, southbound 170, south of Brentwood. Southbound 170 is a solid jam at Delmar. And I mentioned an incident on northbound 270. You've got a backup as you ramp on from 55. It's slow through Tesson Ferry and then stop and go pockets. North of there, the crash, I guess it's a crash, but it's blocking the right lane, which is the 44 ramp on lane. So the right lane of the ramp on is blocked. And so eastbound 44 is bogged down back near Miraz. Once you get past 44, though, you still got heavy traffic, Big Bend up through Doherty Ferry, but then it sorts itself out. South 270 approaching Olive down to Ladou's busy. Southbound 61 still off the pace from Highway P down to 64, almost all the way to 364. So just be prepared there. Just a lot of volume. Eastbound Highway 70, a little slow down east of 370. Northbound 55, Bales up to River to Pear. Westbound 64, Ball to the 70 split, and then 3rd Street to the Poplars crowded. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company at St. Louis Traffic Center.
Roger, this forecast looks pretty good for today. We're going to get a high of 62 degrees, sunny, breezy, balmy, says Joe Lundberg. And then clouds come back tonight with a bit of rain toward midnight, low 35 to 39. It's going to stay cold tomorrow with a rain or snow shower giving way to some afternoon sun. And it stays in the 30s Thursday with a high of only 34 degrees. Currently, we're looking pretty good downtown. Just some cloud cover right now. 42 at the Arch.
It is now 7:22, and this morning we've been telling you about grand jurors in St. Louis County, from how they're selected to how long they serve. Maria Kina spoke with 21st Circuit Court presiding judge Bruce Hilton and St. Louis County prosecutor Melissa Price-Smith.
It's not often judges will speak, but since St. Louis County last September impaneled the second grand jury to eliminate some of the backlog of cases, we now have some insight to how it all works. Selection of grand jurors is made by 2 circuit judges.
Remember, it's a 9-week commitment, and they are not compensated a lot. That's a legislative thing, not a judicial thing. So it takes a huge commitment, but it is so rewarding and so refreshing to serve. And if anything to be taken away from this is if you are summoned, take that opportunity. I wish employers would say, we'll pay because it is vital and it really helps the administration of justice. And what we've seen is that cases are moving through the system a lot quicker with the addition of the second grand juror than in the past.
What determines when it's a grand jury rather than a regular petit juror?
Well, and that's where it's that's where it's confusing. The prosecutor, most violent crimes basically automatically always went to the grand jury, and the reason being is because of the sensitive nature of the alleged crime and the impact it has on the victim. So if you can avoid the victim, basically, I'm stealing her thunder, avoid the victim basically rehashing the most traumatic event that happened in their lives, that they can present to the grand jury without having to testify. A petite juror is a jury that if the case goes forward to trial, they're selected to serve on that jury to determine whether or not the state can meet their burden beyond a reasonable doubt and either make the decision to acquit or to find them guilty. So same makeup, just a different pool from our community.
You had mentioned 6,000 cases. Of those, how many meet that criteria?
Well, so as the judge said, every felony that we issue goes through a probable cause hearing, either preliminary hearing or grand jury. As he said, what we would generally do is generally send mostly our most violent, most serious cases to grand jury. A victim in general always has to testify at trial because a defendant has a right to face his accuser. But we would send our serious victim cases to grand jury to limit the amount of time a victim has to rehash the worst experience of his or her life. So victims don't have to testify at grand jury. So we would send our most serious cases. Now that we have a second grand jury and we have preliminary hearing dockets that are so full, we are able to send even more cases to grand jury to get these cases moving because our second grand jury was convened in September. So it's been about 4 months, but with the holidays, it was a little bit limited. And the grand jury has already heard over 400 additional cases in just that short amount of time. So we are anticipating in the new year about 1,600 approximately more cases will be heard than were heard when we only had one grand jury.
So it doesn't have to be a high profile case.
It doesn't have to be a high profile case, and not all cases that go to grand jury are high profile. A lot of our serious victim cases go to grand jury. Our murders go to grand jury. But it doesn't have to be a high profile case. It's a probable cause hearing. So any felony.
So people understand, can someone apply to be a grand juror? They haven't been summoned?
Yeah, we'll have professional grand jurors. That is what was done away with in 2003. Especially in rural communities, it's difficult. No, you cannot apply. Yeah.
So you have to wait to be summoned. If you're a grand juror, can you go on a petit juror after that?
As long as it wasn't related to the case that you served as a grand juror, correct.
You tell me, Judge, what you think this is going to do for as far as the caseload, because there are so many cases right now, such backlogs.
So what I've seen, and it's all about, I can sit here and say, quote poetically, administration of justice. If we can get cases that are set for trial in a more efficient way, that serves everybody. The problem is because of the caseload, not the judiciary, but we have to work with everybody else's calendar. And the public defender's office is overworked. They'll have cases set out for a year, and sometimes the backlog is a result of that. That's nothing that we can control as a judge. I can't force somebody to go out and try a case when they're not prepared. So that is something that I would love to fix too, but how are we going to do that? But what we've seen is, at least now with some of the changes I've made for the public defender's office, they're able to get discovery quicker with the second grand jury. They're able to process and do depositions quicker because they're not preparing all these preliminary hearings. So I think it's benefited both the prosecutor's office, the public defender's office, the defense bar, and the judiciary.
It's 7:27. Time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up. Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here to tell you about 213 Complex, which is available at Supplement Superstores. Look, it's the time of year to make things happen with health goals. 213 Complex will do for you what it does for me. Gets the metabolism rocking and rolling 24 hours a day, helps you fight cravings, gives you all day focused energy with no crash that comes at the end of the day either. It's been a big help for me. It will help you. So get out to Supplement Superstores. Tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They'll knock 30% off your 213 Complex. To get started down your path and find your location, just go to Supplement Superstores. supplementsuperstores.com.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan, along with Dr. Colleen Bosler and Dr. Adam Voss at the Audiology Center. When was the last time you really enjoyed a conversation without straining to hear?
Charlie, so many people think hearing aids just make things louder.
But that's old technology. Today's hearing aids do so much more.
Exactly. With the dual chip technology, our hearing aids actually separate the speech from the background noise.
Which means at a noisy restaurant, you'll hear your friends and family, not the clinking dishes.
And the best part, your brain doesn't have to work overtime trying to fill in the blanks.
So that keeps your mind sharp, your conversations easy, and your relationships stronger.
Because hearing well isn't just about sound, it's about staying connected.
Thanks, Doctor. Call the Audiology Center today to schedule your annual hearing evaluation. Don't miss another moment. Call 636-441-7470 or visit theaudiologycenterstl.com.
What is it that makes the all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid an incredible SUV? Is it the spacious interior that's comfy for the whole crew? Or the capability to go off-road? Maybe it's up to 600-plus miles of range. What if it's all of that and more? What is it then? The all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid. So much more than just another SUV. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
For 100 years, KMOX has been the voice of St. Louis, informing, entertaining, and connecting our community. Now, relive a century of service at KMOX100.com, a website that allows you to explore classic KMOX audio, rare photos and video, and the legendary voices that shaped St. Louis. Every headline, every heartbreak, every heartbeat lives on at KMOX100.com.
It is 7:30, and right now we've got cloudy skies and 43 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. We also have Roger Brand in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we got new trouble on 55 now. We have, looks like a couple of different crashes, two separate ones. They're pretty close to each other, but they're both, looks like, blocking the left lane northbound 55 just south of Z. Traffic's a solid jam back through McNutt on northbound 55. Once you get past that point, the right lanes are still slow north of Butler Hill up to 270. All lanes bogged down. Union Road overpass, it's bumper to river to Paris, still kind of slow up through Virginia. And North 270 stop and go as you ramp on from 55 up through Gravois, and it starts improving. That crash north of 44 was the earlier culprit. 44 westbound, the right lanes are backed up at Geyer. Eastbound 44 is backed up or at least slow at Bowles. That crash is at the end of the 44 ramp onto North 270, the reason why there's volume there. And North 270 is still busy. Big Bend up through Doherty Ferry. South 270 approaching Olive down through Ladue is slow. Southbound 61 still delays from Highway P down onto 64 at 364. Chesterfield Parkway west to about Timberlake, and then briefly at the Interbelt. Westbound 64 Hampton to Hanley's pretty solid because of that crash we had earlier out around Clayton Warston. Eastbound 70 east of 94 into Earth City. There's a couple of slow spots there downtown. Westbound 64 from the 70 split to the Poplars pretty slow. Next update at 7:40 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to be really nice today with a high of 62 degrees, cloudy with a nice breeze, but 62 today, then maybe a snow shower tomorrow. Could be a rain shower as well. We'll see some afternoon sun, but the temperatures will be falling all day into the 30s. And then our high on Thursday is just 34. Much warmer than that now with 43 degrees downtown.
It's 7:31. Some modular buildings went up in flames overnight in the Metro East. Cahokia Heights Deputy Chief Jordan Simmons told our news partners at Fox 2 it wasn't an easy fire to knock down.
They had pretty intense fire conditions when they arrived. They had to reposition the apparatus at one point due to the heat and the wind shifting, causing the flames to impinge close to an apparatus.
The cause is under investigation. No injuries reported.
Tonight's St. Charles City Council work session has been moved to the convention center to accommodate a large crowd.
Business owners and residents do not want to see a plan proposed by Mayor Dan Borgmeyer in August to merge the city's Convention and Visitors Bureau, Special Events and Communications. This evening's session does not allow comments, but last week people had a lot to say.
You're being asked to vote on salaries for positions whose job descriptions have not yet been disclosed.
The actual proposal of cutting out the people who are overseeing tourism and restructuring the department is expected to be officially presented tonight. The work session starts at 6:30.
Help on the way for Missouri's domestic violence shelters after the U.S. House passed a bill to restore their funding. Congresswoman Ann Wagner championed the legislation, noting federal support for these programs had dropped by 92% in recent years, causing a crisis in this area.
In 2024, my home state of Missouri saw a $10 million cut, over 40%, Mr. Speaker, of its federal support for victims of violent crime gone.
Wagner's bill, co-sponsored by Democrat Debbie Dingell, uses fines collected from violations of the False Claims Act to stabilize the fund for the next 5 years.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We'll check your money minute next at 7:33.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapor Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapor Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
It's time for your money report. It is 7:34, and it's sponsored for you this hour by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Personal finance platform Betterment fell victim to an online attack that allowed an unauthorized individual to send some customers a fraudulent crypto-related message. The hacker got through with impersonation rather than by compromising Betterment's technical infrastructure. Betterment says it has contacted affected customers and is investigating the incident. Checking in on trading, stock futures are slipping this morning. Markets are keeping a close eye on the Trump administration's renewed attacks on the Federal Reserve that have stoked concerns about its independence. Before the opening bell, the government releases consumer price data. And NVIDIA plans to invest $1 billion over 5 years in a new laboratory with Eli Lilly. The aim is to speed up the use of artificial intelligence in the pharmaceutical industry. The hope is to supercharge a time-consuming process that currently relies heavily on human researchers doing physical experiments. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
This is the Let's Revitalize Our Neighborhoods commitment. This is the Roll Up Our Sleeves and Pitch In commitment. This is Busey, where our commitment to strengthen our communities is a top priority. Through energetic, engaged volunteers, through monetary support, community leadership, and advocacy. Because Busey is more than a bank that does well, we're a bank that does good. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth, since 1868. Member FDIC.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
Want to build income without a second job? Learn how real estate investing can help you create extra income one step at a time with Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
It's men's Billikens basketball action Wednesday night as they face Fordham.
Pre-game 6:45, tip at 7 on your home for Billikens basketball. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's 7:37 in the news this morning. Missourians could soon face tough choices about their health care.
The clock is ticking on a contract between SSM Health and United Healthcare. And if no deal is reached by the end of January, many patients may have to find new doctors. Senate President Pro Tem Cindy O'Loughlin says that's not acceptable. And she may have to step in again like she did last year when MU Healthcare and Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield were at an impasse.
And I know some states have passed additional legislation mandating that those people can continue to see their doctor until an agreement is reached. And I think it needs to be addressed.
For now, more than 140,000 Missourians can still see SSM providers at in-network rates. But if SSM Health and United Healthcare don't reach a new agreement by month's end, those patients could lose that coverage. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
At Johns Hopkins, I'm Elizabeth Tracy. Following 125,000 children from infancy seems to show that early introduction of peanut helped many avoid development of peanut allergy, a recent study concluded. Robert Wood, a childhood allergy expert at Johns Hopkins, says this is just one of a number of observations regarding factors related to the development of childhood allergies.
If your mother has antibiotic the very end of pregnancy, if the baby gets antibiotics shortly after birth or in the first 6 to 12 months of life, if you were born by C-section, you have a higher risk of allergy. If you have a dog in the home, you have a lower risk of allergy. Should every baby get a bath right after they're born, or just to leave them dirty? Might you be able, from a preventative standpoint, to enrich somebody with a healthier microbiome and maybe prevent allergy?
Early introduction to peanut may help a child's immune system develop in a healthy way. At Johns Hopkins, I'm Elizabeth Tracy.
Hey, let's check the roads. Roger Brand, what's the latest? Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, we still got these couple of crashes on northbound 55. They're real close to each other, but only the right lane is open northbound 55. The crash is just south of Highway Z. Traffic's a solid jam back south of McNutt now on northbound 55. You get around that, and there's some slow traffic, Green Park to Rivas. It's jammed from the Union Road overpass to Weber and slow from there up through Virginia. It's a solid jam on North 270 now. We have a new crash. We had the crash. It was North 270 just past 44. Now there's one south of 44 North 270 with lane blockage, so it's jammed from 55 to that one. That one's still on the shoulder just north of 44, so it's still backing up the 44. Ramps getting onto North 270. Westbound's backed up midway back to Lindbergh. Eastbound 44 is actually slow, all lanes approaching Bowles. And by the way, the North 270 slowdown remains heavy all the way up through Doherty Ferry, but then you start to see improvement. South 270 from Dorset down to 64 is slow. Southbound 61, Highway P, most of the way to Wentzville Parkway, and 64 to Lake St. Louis Boulevard's heavy. Coming out of the valley, Annie Guns to Clarkson. There's slow stuff that's heavy again around McKnight. Westbound 64, Hampton, headed out through Bellevue's bumper to bumper, slow to Hanley. South 170 delays at the Parkway. Eastbound 70, 370 to Cave Springs, 94 into Earth City. There's a couple of slow spots running there. And downtown, westbound 64 from the 70 split to the Poplar is pretty busy as well. Next update at 7:50 for the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Let's check in with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg. I guess I'm just going to tell people, Joe, to really enjoy today while it lasts.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Debbie. I mean, we're already starting out in the upper 40s to almost 50 degrees with a good breeze blowing out of the west-southwest. We'll see clouds and some sun. That breeze will persist. We'll get into the low 60s, probably not to the record of 67. If we get more sunshine, maybe we can get close. But then a front will move into the area tonight. Ahead of it, it'll be cloudy. Could be a bit of rain toward midnight. A low in the mid to upper 30s. Breezy and cold tomorrow. Clouds, a rain, or even a snow shower early. Some sun breaks out in the afternoon, but temperatures stay in the 30s. It'll be cold on Thursday with sun and some clouds, our high 34. More clouds and sun for Friday. We rebound to 44, but then it gets even colder to start the weekend. Lots of clouds, temperatures staying in the upper 20s on Saturday. Right now, a relatively balmy 47 in St. Peter's, 48 in Florissant. Partly cloudy, 50 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Thank you, Joe. It's 7:42, sports in 3 minutes. The St. Louis Science Center, once again, is up for USA Today's Reader's Choice Awards. It was nominated by the editors and a panel of experts in the categories of Best Free Museum, Best Planetarium, and Best Science Museum. Last year, the Science Center placed first for Best Planetarium, second as Best Free Museum, and fifth as Best Science Museum. Voting is live now through February 9th. Fans can vote once per day on the Science Center's website.
CBS News correspondent Bradley Blackburn reports President Trump and his national security team will focus today on the spreading unrest across Iran.
President Trump has repeatedly threatened to strike Iran over its violent crackdown on recent protests, even as he says Tehran seeks talks.
Diplomacy is always the first option for the president. With that said, the president has shown he's unafraid to use military options if and when he deems necessary.
On social media Monday, the president announced a 25% tariff on goods from countries that do business with Iran immediately.
The World Health Organization is calling on countries to make some sweet beverages a little harder to afford. CBS News correspondent Cammie McCormick.
A new report out claims sugary drinks and alcoholic beverages are fueling obesity and diabetes, and yet they're easier for many to obtain because of low taxes. The head of the World Health Organization says health taxes are one of the strongest tools available for preventing disease and promoting health. Those drinks generate billions of dollars in profits for corporations, but only a small share of that goes to governments left paying for vital health services.
The U.S. Supreme Court is scheduled to hear arguments about whether laws that limit participation of trans athletes based on sex violates the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. We get more from CBS News legal contributor Rebecca Royce.
The Supreme Court will hear arguments from the government that the Constitution, particularly the Equal Protection Clause and Title IX, have long allowed the government to discriminate between the sexes because there is good reason to do so, and that is that men have such a competitive edge due to their biological differences.
And I found this very interesting. There has been praise and criticism after what a reporter said at an NFL postgame news conference.
After the Jaguars lost to the Bills on Sunday, Lynn Jones-Turpin of the Jacksonville Free Press attended the news conference of Coach Liam Cohen.
So I just want to tell you, congratulations on your success, young man.
Thank
you. Hold your head up, all right? You guys have had a most magnificent season.
It's lit up social media.
Your job is not to console. Your job is to observe, put into context, tell people why things happen, get information.
From Jamel Hill to Dan Patrick.
It's not what we should be doing, but it's not the end of the world.
Some sports journalists and ex-players like Pat McAfee have defended her. ESPN's Adam Schefter called it an awesome exchange. Steve Kathan, CBS News.
See, now we were trained to not do that. You don't give a coach or somebody a compliment in the middle of a press conference in front of media, but it was a warm, kind moment for the reporter. And, you know, it's a human thing.
Yeah. And her peers are mixed on whether she should have done it or not.
It's okay.
At least it wasn't something mean.
Right. What I found interesting was the reaction from everybody, how they view journalism, how they view reporters. And so many people were like, leave her alone. Found that very interesting, how things have changed and how
we do have bigger issues to worry about.
Absolutely. It's 7:46. I wonder if she would console Mike Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers. They lost. Steelers lost 30-6 to the Houston Texans as Houston moves on in the divisional round of the playoffs. They will be taking on the New England Patriots Sunday at 2, followed by Rams at Bears. Saturday's games, Bills at Broncos, 49ers at Seahawks. Great night last night at the Missouri Athletic Club. It was honoring not only Kelly Chase for receiving the True Blue Award, Barrett Jackman for making into the Blues Hall of Fame, Al Arbor as well, but Stanley Cup champion Alex Steen. We haven't heard from him yet. This was his reflection on winning the Stanley Cup in 2019.
Yeah, it was incredible. Obviously, I didn't really sink in. I think the first time we made it. We scored our third goal, and we started getting a little bit too excited, I felt like, on the bench. I didn't want us to. So I was trying to stay as focused as I didn't want this to turn into a game again when it was where it was, and didn't really relax. And then I remember there was a moment with like 7 seconds left. The puck came around the rim and squirted out in the neutral zone. I peeked up, and there was 7 seconds left. And that was when it hit me. Then, holy shit, we did it.
Oh, there's Alexander Steen, and the Blues get themselves a great night at the Missouri Athletic Club. Meanwhile, Roman Berkey, boy, he would love to get himself a title. There is no doubt about that. City and the great training that takes place, all that has to go into being a champion. It's a new era for Yohan DeMay, the coach.
Day one, how does it feel there to be your first day in charge of the team on the field?
Very exciting day. Like the sun is shining, the guys are ready to go. I think everybody's been waiting for that moment for a little bit of time now. So I think it's good to see everybody in the building, to get to know each other, get to know them as well on the pitch, and lay the foundation today.
They are training, getting ready for their first match. Will be at Energizer Park on February 21st. College basketball tomorrow on KMOX. Billikens taking on Fordham. That's a 7 o'clock tip-off, 6:45 pregame. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Billikens and the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Since we have lawyers in all 50 states, I see and hear lots of lawyer ads. It seems that most are bragging on what they got their clients. But be careful. If you heard that someone sold their car for $500,000, you would be impressed. But if you later learned that it was a rare $10 million Ferrari, would you say that person got screwed? And that's before you even know if it's true. Who is fact-checking? And how much went to medical bills and lawyers' fees? If you want to get an idea what your case may be really worth, visit forthepeople.com and go to settlements and verdicts. You will see what a law firm like ours is capable of. And fact check for yourself. All that glitters is not gold. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason. We won big, a lot. At Morgan & Morgan, we represent consumers. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
At LendSeek, we know running a business takes heart, hustle, and sometimes a little help. That's why we stand with you with our exclusive AI lending platform, connecting you to over 100 funders. If you've been in business for at least 2 years with a minimum annual revenue of $500,000, you can get up to $1 million in funding in as fast as 24 hours. No collateral, no prepayment penalties, no red tape. Apply today with no cost or obligation at lendseek.com. That's LENDSEEK.com.
The 29th annual Winter Warm-Up is coming back to Busch Stadium in Ballpark Village, January 17th and 18th. Admission passes and player autograph tickets are on sale now. Team up with Cardinals Care to support St. Louis area children by purchasing your tickets now. It's one of the best events of the year with family-friendly activities, including tours of the Cardinals clubhouse and admission to the world-class Cardinals Hall of Fame and Museum. For more information, go to KMOX.com/events.
Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hey, can I jump in and say something?
Sure.
John on Facebook says these guys never smile. John obviously does not watch this stream.
Which
during
guys
the
never
commercials.
smile? We
Us.
don't? Oh.
John, dude.
Guess he misses me dancing to the jingles during the commercial break.
Have you been watching us through the years? Anyway, Roger Brandt's smiling over at Door Company St. Louis Traffic Center, although the folks in traffic aren't smiling.
Yeah, there's a few frowns out there. You're right, Tom, because of crashes. We're still dealing with those couple we got. North 55 just south of Zeolny. The right lane's open. Traffic's jammed south of McNutt up to that one. After that, you're still bumper to bumper from the Union Road overpass up to the River Fair. That's solid. Looks like they're slow going north of there up to Virginia. North 270 jams, 55 up to Gravois. We had that crash north of there. Still pockets north of there, all the way up to Ladue. South 270 approaching Dorset all the way to 64 slow. Eastbound 44 is backed up east of 141 to 270 because of that crash at the end of the ramp from 44 onto Newark 270. It looks like that's pretty much over to the right shoulder now, though. Southbound 61 Highway P down onto 64 to the Boulevards. Heavy Boone's Crossing to about Timberlake. Approaching Lindbergh and through the Interbelt, a couple of slowdowns. Westbound 64 from Hampton all the way to Hanley. Clayton Warson out to Ballas is busy. 364 across the Veterans Bridge, a little slow. 70 at Highway K, east of 94 through the Blanchette. A crash. Looks like it's in the left lane. Southbound 170 at Airport Road has traffic jam back onto 270. And downtown, westbound 44 past the Poplar out onto 70 to about Grand is busy. Westbound 5570 Exchange to the Poplar is slow. Next update is 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
All right, the forecast is going to be changing a lot because today it's going to feel like spring, 62 degrees with some breeze, and then tomorrow breezy and cold with a rain or snow shower tomorrow, giving way to some afternoon sun. Temperatures will be falling all day, and then we'll end up on Thursday with a high of 34 degrees. Right now, it's 43 with some clouds.
The news continues at 7:52. Economic development is taking center stage as Governor Kehoe prepares for his State of the State address today.
Chamber of Commerce wants to see a new fund created to help manufacturers upgrade their plants. Jared Hankinson tells KMOX the state needs to offer specific tools to compete better for major industrial projects.
Creating a new capital investment tax credit for large-scale projects, not just specifically manufacturing, but really any major private investment that wants to relocate to the state of Missouri or expand in the state of Missouri for equipment purchases, new facilities.
Hankinson tells KMOX two other priorities of the chamber include tort reform and increasing access to childcare. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Well, St. Louis area company is now on notice from NASDAQ Advantage Solutions out of compliance with the minimum bid price rule of $1. And unless things change by July 6th, they'll be delisted.
Advantage Solutions CEO is Dave Peacock. The company moved to its headquarters from California to St. Louis in 2024, according to the Business Journal. They're a provider of sales and marketing services to consumer goods manufacturers and retailers.
One of the big challenges for social media platforms is verifying ages to protect young users from objectionable content. Roblox is now requiring facial age checks for all users who want to chat on the platform. KMOX virtual consumer editor Megan Lynch has more.
Yeah, so it'll be a quick and easy facial age check. Think of it sort of like how you unlock your phone with your face these days.
Eliza Jacobs, Senior Director of Product Policy at Roblox. Jacobs says the AI-driven program estimates ages to place children and teens with users of similar ages.
This isn't facial recognition, it's just age checking, so there's no identity component of this at all.
Jacobs says the data from the image is deleted. Kids can still play on the platform without the facial age detection, but will not be able to use the chat function.
A state hotline set up to catch license plate fraud has triggered a major legal battle between Illinois and the federal government. Secretary of State Alexi Janulius says his officer's Plate Watch hotline has received hundreds of tips alleging that federal immigration agents are switching the plates on rental cars to avoid detection. Janulius says investigators confirmed the practice, including one case where agents admitted on video to changing plates daily.
Tampering with license plates is illegal, it's dangerous, and it will not be tolerated. Illinois law strictly prohibits masking, swapping, or altering license plates because these actions undermine public safety.
The Secretary of State sent formal warnings to rental car companies late last year, reminding them they could be held liable if their vehicles are used with swapped plates.
St. Louis left a lasting impression on members of the U.S. men's Olympic figure skating team. In between competition events at the just concluded U.S. Nationals at Enterprise Center, Andrew Torgashev took time to sightsee.
It's actually like a really beautiful city, like really old architecture, like great history. We went in that old Capitol building. Like you'll never see buildings like this, like in modern day, like the amount of detail that they took to craft it. And this arch, I had like no idea really why.
Torgashev won the silver medal at Nationals. Gold medalist Ilya Malinin says it was a fun experience and he enjoyed the St. Louis restaurants that he got to visit. By the way, they're saying that the attendance over the 11 sessions was over 93,000.
Huge congratulations to the St. Louis Sports Commission, President Mark Schreiber, Tim Ryan, Amanda Ryan, that whole group. What a great job they do bringing these events and then running them, the execution to make sure that everything goes smoothly. St. Louis Police Chief Robert Tracy and his police department keeping everyone safe. A wonderful job by everybody on that.
Yes, and lots of national coverage as well.
We have more events coming. NCAA tournament will be here in March. Get ready. It's 7:57.
Hey, Happy New Year, big boy. Hey, what's up, Izzy? Also known as the Kool-Aid Man. You got any New Year's resolutions? I got one, Eddie. I've promised myself to spend more time on that toasty, warm, huge, heated outdoor patio of yours. It's nothing like having your coat off, drinking the coldest beer in town with hundreds of your family, friends. Man, it is a toasted patio, and that's a great resolution. And, thanks for not mentioning things like weight loss and health kick. And those would be hard in Fast Eddie's. It'd be hard to lose any kind of weight or take away from anything when you got the 5-pound Fat Eddie burger, the hot chick on a stick, that Big L wood on a stick, and those succulent peel-and-eat shrimp. Yeah, I am not losing any weight hanging around your place. I learned it's a lot easier just to make those resolutions simple and fun, buddy. Man, and that's easy. You're right. That's a great resolution. So make your resolution fun. And head on over to Fast Eddie's Bon Air. You know where to go across that big, beautiful Clark Bridge and come into Alton, Illinois. So like Mr. Shannon always said, if you're 21 and in the mood, we'll see you at Fast Eddie's Bon Air. Kool-Aid Man.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your Nature-Made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for me, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature-Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle, based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Well, we still got our crashes on northbound Highway 55 just south of Highway Z. Only the right lane's open. Traffic still a solid jam back through McNutt. Northbound 55 after that still backed up from the Union Road overpass most of the way to River to Pear. North 270 stop and go pockets from 55 up through 44. Then it's slow to Ladue. Eastbound 44 jams east of 141 into 270. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Pfizer.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez, breaking from Washington. Sources tell CBS News at least 6 members of the Justice Department Civil Rights Division have resigned after they learned there would be no civil rights investigation into that ICE agent who shot a protester dead in her car in Minneapolis last week. The state and the Twin Cities have already filed a lawsuit. CBS's Lana Zach.
In a statement, the Department of Homeland Security said the Minnesota lawsuit was prioritizing politics over public safety, adding, quote, "We have the Constitution on our side on this, and we look forward to proving that in court."
Protesters in Iran have sent out video showing a violent and deadly government crackdown. Next moves for President Trump. CBS's Holly Williams from the Iraqi border.
U.S. officials told CBS News that Trump has been briefed on an array of options, not just military strikes, but also cyber operations and psychological campaigns.
The Supreme Court begins hearing arguments next hour in the case of 15-year-old Becky Pepper Jackson. She's a transgender track and field athlete who's defied a ban in West Virginia. CBS's Jan Crawford.
If the court says that those bans can continue, you may see other states trying to pass those laws. But of course, Democratic-led states will not. And so we have quite a divide in this country on this issue of participating in sports if you're a transgender female athlete.
Inflation declined just a touch last month. Consumer prices rose 0.3% in December from the month before. The cost of groceries, rent, and healthcare all up, while prices for gas and used cars were down. The Environmental Protection Agency is changing its formula for setting rules on air pollution.
The EPA has announced it will now consider the cost to industry when setting pollution limits, not the cost of saving human lives, as it has for decades. The change could make it easier to repeal limits on pollutants from power plants, oil refineries, and steel mills, lowering their costs while allowing for dirtier air. Critics point out the EPA's mission statement is to protect human health and the environment. Long-term exposure to fine particulate matter and ozone has been linked to asthma, heart and lung disease, and premature death. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Want to find out whose dogs are doing their business in your yard? People in communities like Hudson Harbor Condos in Edgewater, New Jersey can check the poop prints.
Every resident pup is required to be swabbed so their genetic information can be kept on file. If there's a match, properties can levy fines or punishments. Neighborhood HOAs have signed up, so have campgrounds and dog parks.
CBS's Bradley Blackburn. Dow futures down 49. This is CBS News.
You still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored.
At 8:03, we have cloudy skies, 50 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Tuesday, January 13th. I'm Megan Lynch. The number of murders in the city of St. Louis fell to its lowest total in a dozen years, 140, and overall crime dropped 16% in 2025. That's according to numbers released by SLMPD overnight. A news conference scheduled for later today to go over those statistics. Mayor Kara Spencer released a statement praising Chief Robert Tracy and the work of his officers. She said the combination is a big reason why the public's trust in the city's police department continues to grow, enabling investigators to solve crimes with better information. The case of a modular building fire overnight in Cahokia Heights under investigation. Deputy Chief Jordan Simmons told our news partners at Fox 2.
When they arrived on scene, there was heavy fire in the one that had spread to the next due to them being close together. The wind fed the fire across and caused the other ones to catch fire.
The fire along a stretch of Route 3, no injuries reported. A jury trial underway in St. Louis County for a June 2020 shooting spree at an Applebee's restaurant in St. John. 34-year-old Courtney Washington of St. Anne is charged with first-degree murder, 2 counts of assault, and 3 counts of armed criminal action. The shooting claimed the life of Kimberly Penton and left 2 other victims wounded. Police at the time unable to establish a motive. KMOX told you yesterday about a second grand jury that's been impaneled to speed up the trial process. Our Maria Kina spoke with the St. Louis County prosecutor and 21st Circuit presiding judge Bruce Hilton about how a grand jury works.
Judge Hilton explains the difference between regular jurors and grand jurors.
In 2003, the General Assembly had changed the statute with respect to the selection of grand jurors. They are identical to a petite juror. So if you got called on a criminal case or a civil case, the same requirements as statutory requirements. So you can't handpick basically a grand jury, so that you get away from the rubber stamping of every case that's filed by the prosecutors. Automatically a true bill is going to come out.
Hilton says the makeup of grand jurors are conglomeration of the community, and the judge adds this is so. A grand jury panel is representative of all the people. Maria Akina, KMOX News.
A new report looks at just how violent Illinois interstates were last year. WBBM's Andy Dawn.
State police say 2025 was the 4th straight year the number of shooting incidents on interstates across the state decreased, along with a 31% drop since 2024 and 80% compared to 2021. ISP says no deadly interstate shootings were recorded last year. Authorities, as well as Governor Pritzker, crediting public safety investments such as license plate readers and vehicle tracking devices for the consistent decreases.
The Missouri governor set to deliver his State of the State address today. Business leaders outlining their ideas.
The Missouri Chamber of Commerce is prioritizing the state's child care shortage, arguing it keeps parents out of the workforce. Vice President Jared Hankinson tells KMOX their plan involves incentivizing businesses to contribute to their employees' care costs.
What we're championing here is a 3-prong tax credit approach that would encourage private investment into the child care marketplace via a tax credit mechanism. So if you're an individual, if you're a business, if you're a child care provider, those individuals could receive a tax credit.
Hankinson says the state misses out on $1.35 billion a year of economic activity because of child care issues. This approach, he says, allows for investment in the system without the state taking on a massive new fiscal obligation. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
By now, you've likely heard, and we can confirm, multiple monkeys and a goat still on the loose in St. Louis.
Mayor Kara Spencer provides an update.
It's my understanding that at least 3 of the 4 monkeys are still on the loose. I've seen a TikTok where one of them's been somewhat apprehended, but I can't verify that.
Spencer says the goat is also on the loose to her knowledge. In a statement from a spokesperson for the city health department, they are turning their focus to enforcing the city's wild animal ordinance, which bans residents from owning primates. They say unverified and AI-generated social media posts have contributed to confusion surrounding whether the animals remain at large. They add they will waive any charges or fines that pertain to prohibited animals for people who have secured any of the monkeys and wish to turn them in safely. It is still advised that residents do not approach the monkeys. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
From the business desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com, GameStop continues to shut down stores across the country, including a number of locations in the St. Louis area. GameStop locations in Creve Coeur, Jennings, and Alton closed last week, and locations in Maplewood and South County Center will be closing tomorrow. 12 area locations remain open. GameStop closed 590 stores in fiscal year 2024. It's 8:08, traffic and weather in 2 minutes.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
Looks like it's been a busy morning on the roads. Let's get the latest with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, there's still no change on North 55, Megan. We still have these crashes. North 55 just south of Z. Only the right lane is open. Still a solid jam back about midway between A and McNutt, I guess, North 55. Once you get around it, you're still backed up from the Union Road overpass up to River to Pear. North 270 slow north of 55. It bunches up periodically to 44. Then it's just off the pace all the way up to Ladue. Eastbound 44 stall reported now before 270. It's a solid jam at 141. If you're on eastbound 64, east of Prospect through Lake St. Louis Boulevard to 364 is busy from Ballas all the way in through the Interbelt's heavy. Westbound 64, Hampton through Big Bend, and Spady out through Ballas is a little busy on the westbound run. South 170 still this crash in the left lane at Airport Road. Traffic's jammed back coming off the 270 ramps. Eastbound 44 downtown looks better, just a little busy as you approach the Museo Veterans Bridge. And westbound 64 a little bit better, but it's still slow from the 70 split across the Poplar. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Clouds and some sun at times today. Breezy and very mild this afternoon, high 62. Tonight will be cloudy. Look for a bit of rain toward midnight, the low 35 to 39. Tomorrow, clouds, rain or snow shower in the morning, then some sun in the afternoon, but breezy and much colder. Temperatures holding in the 30s. Thursday, sunshine mixing with clouds and remaining cold, high only 34. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
We do have cloudy skies right now, 50 degrees in Florissant, 46 in St. Peters, 50 degrees downtown at the Arch. Thanks for listening to Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch. I saw a recent article about fentanyl test kits being distributed in Chicago. So I wanted to see what availability was here in the St. Louis region. Joining me now, Jenny Armbruster. She is Executive Director of Prevent Ed. Jenny, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you for having me, Megan.
First off, for our listeners, what is Prevent Ed?
PreventEd is a local nonprofit. We've been serving the St. Louis community since 1965. Our mission is to prevent and reduce the harms associated with substance use. So we offer substance use prevention, information, education, and recovery support for individuals.
What's the magnitude of the fentanyl crisis from your perspective?
The fentanyl crisis has really become, I would say, kind of a continuing wave of the opioid epidemic. So fentanyl is a very potent, powerful opioid synthetic, and so a synthetic opioid. And as we look at the last decades of how opioids have impacted our community, fentanyl is really just, one of the more recent iterations or waves of this crisis, in that it has created this condition within our communities that has led to an increase in overdose rates. It is impacting and infiltrating our drug supply for both opioid substances and other stimulants. So when we think about things like cocaine or methamphetamine, they can also have fentanyl present. And so being a very powerful opioid, many people don't even realize that they're using fentanyl if it's in the drug supply.
How very deadly is it?
It can be potentially very deadly because it is so potent. And if people are not aware that it's in the supply and they have no tolerance built up to the fentanyl, a very small amount can be a fatal amount for most individuals.
When we talk about these test kits, how long have they been available?
Test kits have been available for a long time, for many years. They most recently, in the last few years, became supported and more legally able to be shared in our communities in Missouri. For a while, they were considered more around drug paraphernalia, but now they're considered more as a tool to help support people and help individuals who are using drugs.
How do they work?
They work. They're just a little kind of plastic papery device or strip, and you can mix a small amount of a drug that's being used with water and put it onto the test strip, and it will let you know if fentanyl is present in the substance or not. So that won't necessarily tell you a level or like how much fentanyl is in the substance that might be being used, but it'll let you know if fentanyl is present or not.
Jenny, it seems like we've always had these debates, over the decades about things like this. And do they send the wrong message about illicit drug use? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's important to consider that, individuals who use drugs are individuals facing a substance use disorder, are going to use substances. And I think that we have to think about this as an entire continuum, that, when someone is perhaps diagnosed with a substance use disorder or facing challenges with a substance use disorder, just saying, oh, they shouldn't use is generally not going to work, not going to be helpful for them. Ideally, would we want people to engage in other resources and treatment resources and find their path to recovery? Absolutely. But there's a whole continuum along this, and that people first have to get supported and be trusted to be able to maybe walk that recovery path, and that it can't necessarily be a forced path, and that we have to be able to meet people where they're at and be able to make sure that we're providing them with some resources to be able to make sure that they're safe while using substances, make sure that they are able to access resources. And when we have things like fentanyl test strips or naloxone to reverse overdoses available, we need to be able to provide that so that people can have those opportunities.
How accessible are these test kits?
The fentanyl test strips are available at no cost by most organizations that distribute both naloxone or Narcan and other overdose medications. They're available at treatment and substance use organizations. They're available through other outreach organizations around the St. Louis community.
Is there typically state or federal funding that helps with distribution?
Yeah, so through Missouri, most of the distribution is supported through both some federal funding and state funding, and including like opioid settlement dollar funding, and Missouri through the funding through the Missouri Department of Mental Health, but then also some federal grants that are supporting the work in Missouri as well. So the test strips are fairly inexpensive, and so it just becomes, like I said, one more tool in the toolkit to help people who might be using drugs.
But that was going to be my next question. Who should have a test kit on hand?
Really anyone who is, anyone who's using substances or anyone who's connected to people who are using substances, because again, it just provides some reassurance or some information about what people are putting into their body. So, if somebody is using a drug, whether that is an opioid substance or, like I said, some stimulant substances, they should be able to have the knowledge about what they're using. So that way they understand, what other precautions they might need to put into place. They understand maybe what impact to expect, and they understand how to most safely use that product.
If someone is ready to take that next step to get some help, what are some resources for them, or how do they reach out?
Yeah, so at Prevent Ed, we do have staff that are able to offer substance use screenings and referrals for individuals. So they could reach out directly to us at Prevent Ed, either through our website or by calling our main line at 314-962-3456 or prevented.org. There's also many treatment resources available in the St. Louis community, many opportunities for people to engage with certified peer specialists, people who have lived experience, and connect in whatever path feels most comfortable for them.
Jenny, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
That is Jenny Armbruster, Executive Director of Prevent Ed, joining us this morning on KMOX. And still ahead on Total Information AM, the Trump administration is weighing military options for outreach to Iran. We're going to talk about it with CBS News White House correspondent Natalie Brand coming up at 8:31. Is Six Flags getting new ownership and a name change? Michael Calhoun will like that at 8:41. And then we're going to tell you how you can be part of a disaster response team. That's coming up at 8:51. Up next, an income tax cut expected to be at the top of the agenda for Governor Mike Kehoe as he delivers his State of the State address today. Elisa Nelson with Missouri Net is going to join us coming up. First, though, we need to get a check of the roads for you. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, we still have no change on northbound 55. We still have this crash, only the right lane open, a couple of crashes. North 55 just south of Z, traffic's jammed about midway between A and McNutt on northbound 55. A lot of folks are taking 61, 67, and from McNutt midway up to Highway Z, it's backed up as well. So the choice is yours. The highway's tough, maybe not quite as bad on that alternate route, but it's still very busy. North 55, you still got slow traffic from Bayless up to River to Pear. North 270 still slow. North of 55 all the way up to Ladue. Eastbound 44 still jams. East of 141 up to the Merrimack River. We had a stall that was in, I believe it was the left lane there. 64 still kind of busy approaching Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Lindbergh in through Big Bend is slow. South 170 busy at the Parkway. Westbound 64. Clayton Skinker to Hanley is heavy. And we still have this crash. Southbound 170 Airport Road, left lanes blocked. Traffic's jammed back off the 270 ramps. Downtown westbound 64, a little bit better, but still busy 3rd Street onto the Poplar. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And checking that forecast for today, it looks like it's going to be cloudy. We may see a little bit of sun, otherwise breezy, a high of 62 degrees. Cloudy tonight. We may see some rain toward midnight with an overnight low of 35. And then tomorrow, breezy and cold with clouds, rain, or even a snow shower, giving way to some afternoon sun. But temperatures are going to slowly fall to a low of 34 on Thursday. Right now, we've got cloudy skies, 50 degrees downtown at the Arch.
KMOX, celebrating 100 years. Presented by Purina, your pet, our passion. Now, a KMOX pioneer.
Known to listeners as the Big Bumper, Jim White turned KMOX's overnight hours into one of the most distinctive shows in American radio. Starting in 1969, his sharp wit, curiosity, and conversational style made late-night listeners feel like they were part of an exclusive club, where the phones never stopped ringing and the stories flowed freely.
I'm Jim White. I am that which goes bump in the night.
I'm kind of scared to say what I have to say. Okay.
No, I just hung up on the last guy because, never mind why I hung up on it. Monday through Friday, the night side, on KMOX St. Louis.
Jim's warmth and personality created a loyal community that spanned decades, proving that even in the quietest hours, KMOX was alive, connected, and always listening. Jim White, a KMOX pioneer.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
Hi, Margaret with Eamon Gantner and Capriano. We all procrastinate. We put things off, confident we'll have time later. Well, one who procrastinates in choosing will inevitably have their choices made for them by circumstance. Could be an illness or even a death. And it happened to me. I was widowed at 41. It could happen to you. If you procrastinate and fail to plan for your future, for your children, circumstances and the courts will make your plans for you without your input. Eamon Gantner and Capriano help thousands of families plan for their future now. We can be your personal attorney too, guiding you with a will, trust, powers of attorney, Medicaid, and VA. You may delay, but time does not. Eamon Gantner and Capriano, yourestateMatters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising. Start the new year off on a healthier note by taking active liver supplements from New Nordic every day. Available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com or at your local CVS, ShopRite, Meijer Grocery, or Wegmans.
Thanks for listening to Total Information AM on this Tuesday morning. I'm Megan Lynch. Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe delivers his State of the State address today in Jefferson City. Let's bring in Elisa Nelson, news director at Missouri Net, for a preview. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Megan.
So we know the governor is expected to propose eliminating the state's income tax. Do we know any other details of this plan?
There have been some scenarios that have been thrown out there, possibly by some Democrats and maybe even some Republicans. Like you had the state auditor on one of your stations talking about being cautious and making sure the math adds up. And he was thinking, it might be sales tax related, whereas Democrats think it could also be sales tax related to make up for the difference, to cover how much we would be losing to phase out the income tax. So that's what I've heard that it's mostly targeted at, but there may be a couple of other ways. There might be some other buckets that come into play.
Is there widespread support among Republicans for eliminating the state's income tax?
I think so. I think most Republicans are in favor of lower taxes. I guess the question I would ask is this the right time? Because we're expected to have at least a couple of tighter budget years. And so is there any Republicans that oppose it because of the timing? Maybe. But also some would probably argue that if we're having tough budget years, it would help to boost the economy. So, you have those arguments. But yeah, I haven't heard one Republican yet oppose it. But, I wonder if there's some folks that might consider the timing and think that we need to hold on first.
I know we talked about that last week, but talk about the revenue picture in the state of Missouri and what the governor is looking at as he's prepared this address today.
Yeah, we still have billions of dollars in the bank, but that federal money is going to run out soon. And that's largely where the extra money has been coming from, is from the pandemic. And so we've had to spend that down because of the expiration date that it has. And the state auditor, Scott Fitzpatrick, he wants us to slow down on the spending because, we have some tighter budget years ahead. And so we're not going to have that kind of money around to fund some different pet projects. And, a lot of the understanding, some of the understanding on the budget for the past couple of years has been, these are one-time projects. You get it one time and that's it because this money's going to run out. And there were a lot of those. And so I don't anticipate as many of those this time around.
So also when we spoke last week, you mentioned, the budget's going to dominate the session and, likely there won't be a whole lot of other legislative pushes, but are there any other legislative priorities that we're expecting to come from the governor today?
I am going to look for a curveball. If he throws something in there, that might be a curveball. He's a big supporter of law enforcement, and I don't know if he wants to expand his new Blue Shield program. It's a new program that he announced on his first day in office to incentivize the communities to expand their work on public safety. So I don't know if there's going to be an expansion on that. He really wants to work on the crime in Missouri so that he can do some more economic development stuff. So I would anticipate at the very least he's going to tout that, and whether or not he expands that, I don't know. There could be some agriculture related efforts that he might talk about, and might want to put out a new program or something just because he's a farmer and he knows the drill. So those are a couple of things I think he's going to talk about. But whether he has any other real big focuses other than the budget, could be education, I suppose. That could be another one that's on the minds of a lot of Republicans as well.
Elisa, thank you so much. Really appreciate the preview.
Thank you.
That is Elisa Nelson with Missouri Net joining us this morning here on KMOX. Still ahead on Total Information AM. Of course, Iran has been wrecked by, frankly, some violent protests across that Islamic Republic, and the Trump administration is looking at how to respond. We're hearing reports this morning that not only are they considering military options, they're considering some cyber operations. We're going to talk with CBS News White House correspondent Natalie Brand next. It's now 8:29. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
It's your captain speaking. To the passenger with the Mirror Fast soft shoes, smart move.
No way am I letting travel constipation ruin this trip.
Can't blame you. Mirror Fast works fast, but without the harsh side effects.
Since I'm such a smart traveler, can I move to first class?
No. Close the curtain, Carol.
From the makers of Miralax, new Mirafast soft chews work naturally with your body in as little as 30 minutes to give you a comfortable go on the go. Find Mirafast today at your local retailer. Use as directed for occasional constipation. Contains magnesium hydroxide.
We're still looking at some slowdowns out there. Let's check the roads with Roger Brandon, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, unfortunately, Megan, it's still only the right lane open northbound 55 south of Z where we had those crashes earlier. There's obviously still out there. Traffic's jammed back to pretty much Highway A right now, and it's still a little slow from Bayless up to the River to Pear. North 270, still some slow stuff from Gravois. It goes all the way to Ladue. Eastbound 44, that's still jammed. Approaching Bowles up to the Merrimack way to Stall, I think was in the left lane there on eastbound 44. If you're on eastbound 64, east of Lindbergh into Big Bend, still heavy. Westbound 64 backs up Hampton to Clayton Skinker, then it's slow all the way to the Interbelt. The Interbelt is busy from Brentwood down, but at the north end, we still have this jam coming off the 270 ramp, southbound 170. They did clear the crash at Airport Road, but traffic's jammed down through at least Frost before it starts opening up. Seeing a little delay eastbound 70 just past 270 midway into the Rock Road, a little heavy in downtown. Westbound 64, still a couple of slow spots from 3rd Street onto the Poplar Street Bridge. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, it looks like we are going to have a breezy and balmy day today, a high of 62 degrees, mostly cloudy, though. Cloudy tonight, and we could see some rain toward midnight. Expect a low around 35. Right now, cloudy skies, 50 downtown at the Arch. As you've heard on CBS News this morning, President Trump's national security team will hold a meeting at the White House today to look at options for Iran as violence and mass protests in that Islamic Republic continue. Joining me now, CBS News White House correspondent Natalie Brand. Natalie, what is on the table for the security team?
Good morning, Megan. Well, officials have told CBS News that it's not just, military options. Think about traditional air power and missiles that could potentially be involved, but that Pentagon planners have also presented cyber operation options, also psychological campaigns that could be used to disrupt Iranian communications and state-run media. But sources also tell CBS News that no final decision has been made. They're emphasizing that point. And the White House press secretary is also reiterating that diplomacy remains the first option. And she revealed that what we're hearing publicly from the Iranian regime is different than the messages that they are receiving privately.
That's interesting because I know a lot of people are looking at Iran's call for talks, thinking that there could be some calming of what's happening. But other people are saying, no, that you can't believe it to be genuine. What are you hearing?
Well, what they're saying publicly, the Iranian regime seems to be organizing demonstrations of their own, with threats to America, also threats to retaliate if the U.S. were to move forward with a military action. But then privately, sources are telling CBS News that Iran's foreign minister has reached out to the administration's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, to try and engage in direct diplomatic talks with a potential meeting under discussion. Witkoff is someone who has talked to Iran in recent months. If you think back to last year and the attempts back then to have nuclear talks. So that is a sign that there could be an effort to de-escalate the situation. Something that we're still watching at the White House is, what is the president's red line? Because if you think back to early January 2nd, he threatened to intervene if Iran kills peaceful protesters, but he didn't really give more specifics than that, didn't give a specific number. And now human rights groups are saying the number of deaths has simply exploded as these demonstrations stretch into a third week.
CBS News White House correspondent Natalie Brand. Natalie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's 8:34. We've got your money report next.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FRESH to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
Your Money Report now, sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Courtney Donahoe.
Two financial giants are cutting jobs. BlackRock is said to be trimming hundreds of jobs across the asset manager, totaling about 1% of its global headcount. The layoffs include members of its investment and sales teams. Meantime, Citigroup is set to cut about 1,000 positions this week to keep a lid on costs. Streamlining the bank has been a key goal for Citi. Checking on your money, stocks rose yesterday with the Dow gaining 86 points. The S&P 500 hit a new record high. This morning, futures are slightly lower as traders weigh the clash between the Trump administration and the Federal Reserve. Investors are also waiting on a key report on inflation. And Google parent Alphabet is now a $4 trillion company, becoming one of the few companies to cross that threshold. The tech giant hit that milestone after entering a multi-year deal with Apple to power the iPhone maker's artificial intelligence technology. Alphabet stock soared more than 65% last year. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
The St. Louis Symphony Orchestra brings the sweet nostalgia and soul-shattering passion of Tchaikovsky's Fourth Symphony to life this January. This energetic program also features performer Wu Wei playing a stunning concerto on the sheng, a mouth organ and one of the oldest known Chinese instruments. Don't miss this unique program. January 24th and 25th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation. Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-990-1551. That's 800-990-1551.
Leave all the 2025 dirt and celebrate the new year with our friends from Zero Res. Carpets, tile, rugs, upholstery, hard surfaces, basically every surface in your home can be Zero Resified, so it's time to call the cleaning pros at Zero Res. Zero Res has a 4.9 rating on Google, bringing in the new year with 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $119 plus a free hallway. Take 15% off regularly priced services when you mention the KMOX special 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
This is 104.1 FM, KMOX. Here's what's happening. The St. Louis Sports Commission reports total attendance for the U.S. Figure Skating Championships, more than 93,000. The event brought an estimated 5,000 visitors to town. Senator Josh Hawley renewing his call to cap credit card interest rates at 10% following a weekend endorsement from President Trump. And Iranians made phone calls abroad for the first time in days Tuesday after authorities severed communication during a crackdown on nationwide protests. Let's get the latest on the roads for you on this Tuesday morning. Roger Brand has more from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, they finally cleared the crash north 55. We actually had 2 crashes, north 55 south of Z. So lanes are open. Traffic still a solid jam from A through McNutt. And then you're seeing improvements after that. And it's just barely slow. Weber Road to River to Pearson, not much to worry about there. They cleared that stall eastbound 44 at the Merrimack. 44 is still backed up west of Bowles to Miraz, and then it picks up the pace. North 270, a brief backup at 44, but it remains heavy all the way to Ladue after that. Eastbound 64 east of Lindbergh, in through 170 to Hanley, still busy. South 170 slow at Brentwood. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley, that's still crowded. South 170 has completely thinned out coming down through Airport Road from the earlier wreck, and westbound 64 is cleared out across the Poplar as well. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And checking that forecast for today, it looks like we are going to see clouds and a little bit of sun. It's going to be breezy and balmy. We're expecting a high near 62 degrees. A bit of rain toward midnight tonight, cloudy with an overnight low of 35. Tomorrow, breezy with clouds. We may see rain or a snow shower and hopefully some afternoon sunshine as well. Right now, we have cloudy skies, 50 degrees in Florissant, 46 in St. Peters, 50 downtown at the Arch. You're listening to Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Is Six Flags St. Louis about to become Enchanted Park St. Louis? To help us track down the mystery behind those viral trademark filings, KMOX's Michael Calhoun called up the man dubbed the Professor Roller Coaster, a business professor in New York State, Martin Lewison.
Well, Six Flags has been projecting a desire to spin off parks for some time. They haven't been shy about saying we're looking at shedding properties. And obviously some properties are, sort of desirable properties where they have higher return on investment than other properties. So my guess would be that some sort of sale is in the making. I don't know that for a fact, though.
And taking a look at the list of filings with the trademark office, you've got, for instance, Great Escape Lodge, which is the water park, but not Great Escape generally. You've got Oceans of Fun that's listed, but not Worlds of Fun. You've got Galveston, which probably refers to the Schlitterbahn Park that's there. It doesn't, for instance, why would Oceans of Fun be on there, but not Worlds of Fun? Could this be spinning off the water parks, not seeing that as core? So maybe Hurricane Harbor gets sold, but Six Flags, the theme park stays with the company?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And I wish I knew the answer. That is very confusing. Maybe we've only seen a partial, maybe this trademark application, only part of the application has gone through, or maybe not. Maybe there is, the company that is sort of, as far as we can tell, it's the company that's looking, that is making the purchase, or the one that seems to be making the purchase. It's possible that they just can only grow so fast. There are smaller operators around the country with sort of smaller chains of parks, and it's possible that they can't handle too large of an expansion at once. So maybe they're, dipping their toe in, so to speak, in the water park industry, if that's where they feel they have more expertise. And it's possible that Six Flags, finds the dry park profitable and the water park less so. And so they want to shed it. It's just not clear at this point, but anything is possible. And like yourself, I and everyone else have been scratching our heads about, why the water park and not that, or why the hotel and not that. So those are very good questions.
And when it comes to this company, Enchanted Parks Holdings or Innovative Attraction Management, they've just got two properties, a water park only park in New York State, and a park that's basically a bunch of like Caterpillar heavy equipment, things that kids can get into and move dirt. And so do they really have, water parks would be one thing to take over a series of those, but to take over, a park with 10 roller coasters in it, like Six Flags St. Louis, just seems like it would be, from a capital perspective alone, being able to keep up with the property, it seems like that would just be way beyond what they have any experience with.
That's true. I think some of the principals involved have other, they have theme park experience. And so they probably know about operations and that kind of thing. But you raise another good question, like where would they be getting all this capital, for one thing? But like I said, there are sort of smaller properties, probably Six Flags St. Louis, might be the gem of the, it might be their new flagship park for their new chain, for all we know.
Could anybody else take a look at the St. Louis Park? You've got Silver Dollar City's owner, Herschend Entertainment, also the Busch family connection in St. Louis, a Busch Gardens, perhaps, United Parks, which also owns SeaWorld. Who else could take a look at this?
There are some sort of smaller operators around the country who occasionally make a play for one park or another. Herschend Family Entertainment, which is very well known for managing Silver Dollar City in Branson, Missouri, and Dollywood, probably even more famously in Eastern Tennessee. And for a long time, they've only had 2 or 3 parks and a few other sort of tourist operation things, like they own the Harlem Globetrotters, stuff like that. And they've recently tripled in size because they bought, there's a Spanish company called Parques Reunidos, and they just sold all of their U.S. properties to Herschend Family Entertainment, including some well-known amusement parks like, Kennywood in Pittsburgh or Lake Compounce in Connecticut. And so they've grown enormously quickly. So there's money to be made in this industry. The leisure industry has been growing for, a couple of decades, with the exception of COVID. And there's something like 5,000 or 10,000 amusement properties in North America, if you include all the family entertainment centers. So it's seen as a growth industry. And I can see certain investors saying, hey, if there's an opportunity, then, let's take advantage of it. Especially if sometimes, maybe those parks don't belong in the Six Flags chain. Maybe Six Flags isn't the best owner to get the highest return on investment from some of these properties. And maybe it makes sense for another owner to own those properties.
Six Flags St. Louis is one of the 3 original parks in the chain. Is that shocking, or is that just a state of where St. Louis is?
I predicted that they were safe for a while, but the truth is this is better news than hearing that someone is going to tear down the park. Six Flags is going to remove all the rides and they're going to build condominiums or something like that. I sort of thought Six Flags was St. Louis was safe because it's kind of removed from the city. And I don't know that property has any obvious alternative use. So I guess it's better news that there's going to be a new owner rather than the park is going to be, torn down. Okay. So it is sad, and it's a sad sort of ending for one of the original 3 Six Flags parks. But hey, if there's a theme park there, there's a theme park there.
Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for reaching out.
That is KMOX's Michael Calhoun with Professor Roller Coaster Martin Lewison of New York State. Coming up, we'll tell you how you can be a disaster responder with Team Rubicon.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
They're back and bringing all the hits.
This is Rascal Flatts.
Rascal Flatts, live at Enterprise Center, January 17th. Sing along to all of their best songs. One night, one stage. All the songs you love. Tickets still available at Ticketmaster.com. For more information, KMOX.com/events.
Okay, I don't want to be mean, but if you're a guy and you just have a grimy, multiple times refilled bottle of Dial that's got the crusty soap on the outside, that's a red flag.
What if you just have a bar of Dial soap with no soap dish?
I never like the bar of soap.
What if you have one bar of soap and you take it from the shower to the sink, back to the shower? How would you feel good about going to that guy's house?
Oh my gosh, I think I would just leave without saying anything.
Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores, weekdays at 9 on KMOX.
This is Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. A veteran-led organization that responds to disasters is hoping to add more volunteers to its roles this year. Joining me now, CEO of Team Rubicon, Jim Brooks. Jim, thanks for joining us.
Megan, thank you so much for having me this morning.
I gave a really brief description, but can you tell us more about Team Rubicon?
Absolutely. So Team Rubicon is a veteran-led disaster response organization who helps communities before, during, and after disasters. And our mission to mobilize an all-volunteer force to get out there and help others when it really matters.
I understand you're out in the field right now. Where are you?
I'm in Redlands, California, and we have a wildfire mitigation program going on, and this is where we remove the debris and vegetation that can really add fuel to the next wildfire. And our goal is to create a defensible barrier between structures, houses, and the actual the vegetation.
How has this organization grown since your founding, which I understand we're marking an anniversary?
Yeah, so January 13th, 2010 was when those first 8 veterans and first responders deployed to Haiti in the aftermath of the earthquake. And so January 13th marks our anniversary. And what we do is we commemorate that date with what we call Go Day. And it's when gray shirts, it's when we honor our gray shirts, our volunteer base, and our donors who fuel our mission to really make all of this happen.
When it comes to people who volunteer with Team Rubicon, what kind of commitment do you expect?
So we have a role for everyone, regardless of whether they have a few hours or a lot of time to give us. And so we take anyone, there's a role for everyone. And so whether you have a few hours to volunteer for a local service project, or you want to deploy for a week or longer to the front lines of a disaster, we need it all.
How many people typically have had some type of training, maybe, veterans, for example?
So everyone brings some life experiences and skills that sort of contribute to what we do, but Team Rubicon provides all the training necessary to be successful as a volunteer within any operation. So while our veteran base and first responder base, as an example, bring some skills from their previous careers and lives, there's no experience necessary to volunteer.
How do you work with agencies and first responders when you are on the scene of a disaster to make sure that you complement what they're doing and not get in the way?
It's such a great question and such an important question. So we partner very closely with state, county level, federal, and local emergency management departments and local law enforcement. And our job's to come in when it's safe to do so, and really at the invitation of those agencies themselves, because that cooperation is what's make sure that we can make sure that the life safety side of the house is solved for first, and then we can come in and help with the recovery efforts, really to get people back in their homes and back into making progress in their lives.
Would there be enough support, like through local agencies and other first responder agencies, to handle these situations without what you do?
So there's always a need, and I mean, disasters are so big that they have that ability to very quickly overwhelm a local community, and certainly the emergency response and emergency management apparatus within, even in the largest and most resource counties and cities in America. So there's always a need that we can fill, and that's where we step in, and we ask that question: where can we provide the most value and support and assistance, really, to get this community back on its feet?
How is Team Rubicon funded?
So Team Rubicon is funded mostly through corporate donors and private individuals. Right now, we are not funded by government agencies or government grants.
Finally, Jim, what are your hopes for expansion, and what maybe do our listeners need to know if they're interested in getting involved?
So our goal is to grow our volunteer base by 5,000 in the month of January. When we talk about expansion, we're talking about really impact. We want to have that ability to respond to communities in need whenever and wherever it happens. And so the easiest way to get involved is to go to go.day. That will link you back to a website where you can get more information on Team Rubicon. You can register to become a gray shirt, and you can contribute to our mission however you're inclined to do.
That is Team Rubicon CEO Jim Brooks. Jim, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Megan. Great being here.
The U.S. Figure Skating Championships wrapped up in St. Louis over the weekend with the U.S. Olympic team named. AP correspondent Haya Panjwani reports on the future of the Winter Olympics.
Climate change is reshaping the future of the Winter Olympics. With the Earth warming at a record rate, the list of locations that could reliably host a Winter Games will shrink substantially in the coming years, according to researchers. Daniel Scott is a professor at the University of Waterloo.
We've seen, especially the last 5 years, multiple cancellations of FIS races. And then that translates every 4 years into the challenges of the Olympics. We've seen that at Sochi. We saw it in 2010 at Vancouver. And it really puts both safety and fairness at risk.
The situation is serious enough that the International Olympic Committee is considering rotating the games among a permanent pool of suitable locations and holding them earlier in the season, since March is getting too warm for the Paralympic Games. Olympic qualifier for U.S. ski mountaineering Cam Smith says, at some point it might be too difficult to put on snow competitions in a lot of places.
It's scary to think that this might not be around a century from now.
I'm Haya Panjwani.
Crime in St. Louis is on the decline, yet we're not really talking about it all that much. We're going to talk to criminology expert Thomas Abt. Also, is it a good idea for the president to cap credit card rates? Dave Simons, financial expert, joins the show. We've got that and more coming up with Chris and Amy right after the news on KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Money, sponsored by LendSeek.
Move over AI. Use Travel Roulette to plan your next vacation. Your family tosses destinations into a hat. You pick one and go.
You can do it for the destination, and then you could do it for the sites in that destination.
Travel vlogger Mark Walters says it can be a fun way to plan a trip, but you need to know everyone's comfort level first.
Kind of understand everybody's level of, let's say, freedom they want to get with these kind